야,
우리 너무 말을 안 해서 부스터 분량이 안 나오네.
진짜?
누가 그래? 아니 거기 댓글에 써있었어.
아 진짜? 나오지 말자 그러면 그냥.
할 말이 없긴 해.
그래 조용한 게 좋은겨.
말 좀.
안녕하세요. 들려요? 미안해 하지마.
와 태양이다.
맞아 난 태양.
근데 뭔가 어색하진 않네. 그치?
응.
그래도 나름 이틀이지만 준비는 했어가지고.
간다 파이팅.
이거지.
가자.
화이팅.
지민의 부당함을 좀 더 덜어주기 위해서는 각각의 선수들이 평소보다 조금 더 올라와 주긴 해야 돼요. 그래야 지민 선수도 평소 기량 제대로 보여줄.
8등 걸어.
보고 와줘.
앞에서 참.
나 보고 있어.
8등 걸다.
알았어.
나
오른쪽.
뒤에 볼게 이거.
나 잡았어.
아.
4등이야.
앞에서 참.
오케이.
지금은 1 안 해도 돼.
나 89.
하나 이거야?
채워줄게.
쌤이 3파.
가봐. 됐어. 우리 7, 8 작업이다 현재.
막았어.
나이스. 나 잡을.
나 3등이야.
다 뒤에 멀어.
찼어 지금.
파이팅 작업. 작업이야 뒤로. 야,
나이스.
야, 지렸다 타가다.
뭐야 이거? 뭐야 앞에?
믿고 있었다.
이 아이템들 정말 파이팅이 좀 나와야 되는 리브 샌드박스가 됐습니다.
인파 있어.
챙겼어.
나
챙겼어요.
먹었다.
딴데 먹었어.
살이 맞게 한데.
땀물 지금 돼요?
버려.
버렸어. 죽였어. 1도 미사일.
나이스. 한 번 더. 대기. 뛰었어.
쌤 없다.
닐 내가 할게.
나 내려.
인생 맞지 마봐. 때릴 때 째봐. 내가 볼게.
지민이가 콜해줘. 나 왼쪽으로 찰 거야. 나
투보야 상대 빨리 맞춰도 돼.
째봐.
됐어. 성빈이 빨리 가.
상대 빨리 맞춰도 돼.
이제 빨리 말.
컷.
나
빨리 말.
갈게.
지민이로 지민.
나이스. 판단 나이스.
와 나이스.
나이스 뭐야?
어떻게 했어?
까비.
제거할 걸. 까비.
선수 받았잖아.
일단 볼까요? 광산 꼬불꼬불 다운힐.
너 아니면 나. 나 똑같아. 1대1 끝. 근데 유 컨디션 더 좋아? 너 컨디션 어때? 안 되면 나. 되면 나. 괜찮아. 근데 나 고정하고 있어. If I lose, it's okay. 나 okay. I go. I go. 인자, 보고 싶으면 저기 커도 돼. 근데 여기 거지 마.
뭐 자신 있는 사람. 잠깐 뒤돌아봐.
이게 지금 애결까지 왔기 때문에 1승이 너무 중요해졌어요.
차가고 있어요.
얼굴도 많이 침착해졌네요. 이게 약간 불안한 타이밍에 뉴코킹으로 라인 다시 잡아주면서 눈치 보고 있습니다.
뒤에서 계속해서 압박을 주고 있습니다. 닐도.
강했어요 월드 이번 거.
자 월드 먼저 쏴지만 닐 아직까지 완전히 멀어지진 않았거든요. 500m.
멀어져요. 더 들어가야 됩니다. 과감하게 가야 돼요.
자 월드 대 닐. 월드
필요한데요.
그대로 들어옵니다.
나 이제 눈이 잘 안 보인다. 눈이 너무 많이 나빠졌네.
안경 써. 쓸모없는데.
안경
모자.
쓰면 안 돼.
렌즈 안경 정도?
원래 그 정도로 나쁘진 않은데 왼쪽 눈이 잘 안 보이네 요새. 설명을 다 했나?
안 돼.
에이.
네? 셋!
세션.
와 미쳤다. 와. 하나, 둘, 셋!
그러니까 피날레는 그냥 상대의 이름값에 주눅들지만 않으면 돼요. 그럼 충분히 해볼 만하거든요.
일단 버티기만 하자 우리. 사영이 형 붙을 수 있어?
나 못 붙을 수도 있어.
오케이. 우리 살아야 돼.
살아야 돼.
들어왔어. 나이스. 7, 8 보고
나
2등.
빨려, 나 빨려.
7, 8 보고 2등. 49. 막아줘.
막았어.
나이스.
들어막으면 아직 거리가
요리!
아직
요리 안 되네요 이렇게.
와!
아니 근데 왜 죽었는데 쟤네?
아니 그 커버 치다가 과감하게 커버 치라 해서 내절했다.
아 잘했어.
까비요.
잘 뚫었다 그래도.
나 맞을게 안 돼.
맞지 말래 봐봐 이제. 먼저 해.
이 빠졌어.
나 빨렸어.
들렸다 2등.
나 돌아갈게. 해지 챙겨버려. 버릴게.
버려. 천.
1등 뭘 했어? 물 잡았어.
나 2개야 맞지 마.
천!
나 간다.
나 그냥 짜고
너네끼리
챙길게.
해야 돼 이거.
거리 안 돼. 짜거리 나온다.
얘는 다 빨리 간다. 난 앞에 물 칠게.
원 줬어?
챙겨.
상처.
먹으면 대기. 2등 뒤에서도 뒤에. 죽어야 돼.
가봐.
우주.
하나 줘. 물 잡았어. 가봐. 나 1등 물 칠게.
천!
빨리 뒤에 저예요.
나 뒤에 빨려서 알 쳤어.
바나나! 아이고! 나랑 병수잖아 또. 야, 니 한번 나가라.
네?
나가도 돼. 아 이기면 베스트 저거 되니까 편하게 하라고. 이거 X거든? X트림이. 일단 나는 내가 나간다고 했는데.
한번 해볼래? 너가 안 나갔으면 될것 같아. 너가 나가.
근데 내가 하는 게 나을 것 같아. 나 X 있어가지고.
부스터를 홀로 모아서 가거든요. 이런 실수 들어가면 안 돼요.
자 그러다 보니까 살짝 꼬이긴 했는데 충분히 따라갈 수 있지 않을까.
다시 한번 붙여줬어요. 부스터가 약간 부족한 상황이었지만 드래프트를 받는 타이밍이었기
빌드가!
때문에 빌드 회복이 됐어요. 어차피 이후에 가속
스트라이커가 왔어요. 안정환이 왔어요.
정직하게 한가운데로 차가면 됩니다.
이렇게 골! 에이스 결전전 트랙은 광산 아슬아슬 궤도 전차가 나왔네요 또.
야또 개돌아는데? 정민 한번 나갈래?
후회 없이 너해. 나 한번 해볼까?
보여줘.
해볼까?
보여줘.
어차피 쫄리는 건 상대야.
그래.
애걸까지 왔어.
나 한번 져가지고 개도해서.
한번 해볼게.
넌 하고 싶어?
내가 할까? 컨디션 어떤데?
나는 오늘 나쁘지 않아.
너 할래?
내가 좀
자신이 없고 내가 만약에 뭐 하더라고. 가위바위보. 어떻게 넌 자신 없으면 내가 할게. 그럼 내가 할게.
재밌게 하고 하지.
나 저도 뭐라 그러지 마.
이게 뭐라 할 필요 없어. 그냥 진짜 너 하고 싶은 대로 다 하고.
그러니까 유는 애결 경험이 있다고 보기 어렵잖아요.
자 이제 위협 구간 들어갔을 때 유닝이 거리 경사를 어떻게 유지하느냐
앞으로
중요합니다. 자 먼저
서로 그냥 눈치 봤어요 지금까지는.
유지할 느낌들이 있거든요. 버텨요. 포지션 나 포지션. 드랩 받아요. 드랩 받으면서 성공.
Welcome, everyone. We are back with another day, another week of the Kart Rider Drift League. My name is Will Cho, joined by State. And, I mean, the weekend was full of some banger matches here at the KDL.
Was
yeah,
a lot of fun.
Yeah, you had some fun matches. I was actually so upset because I had to go back and watch the VODs. And I know you guys were talking about it in our little group chat, like, oh, today was crazy. I watched it. I was like, oh, it was crazy.
It was crazy. I've never seen anybody take that inner line like Jung did in the final ace match. I mean, Rocks Esports. There's a reason they're in second place. It's teamwork. They're forcing ace matches, but also it's Jung just being unbeatable right now. thrilling way.
I mean, for him to put up this kind of record of 5 ace matches against 5 different players, you know, within one tournament, wins all of them, and those are also all of their wins. So that's a crazy stat line, but of course, we do have one more day of team matches. Of course, if you're joining us now, we are at the end of the main stage, which is basically round robin. You can see that May 3rd, that's today's date. 8 teams have entered, only 4 teams will go to the postseason.
Yeah, only 4 teams advancing to the postseason, and as it is right now, that postseason already pretty much fixed in terms of which teams are going to make it, which teams are not. ROX Esports probably the most surprising, as you see right here on the board, in 2nd place with a negative round win differential of -5. I mean, it just goes to show how clutch they've been. They just are so good at forcing that ace match and just passing the baton on to Jong, and he just comes through every single time.
Exactly.
But yeah, it should be some great matches. We have a little bit of mismatches here today. I mean, we're going to see Finale Esports go against Liiv SANDBOX later, which is the 3rd place team against the 8th place team. But overall, it should be a lot of fun. Of course, this being Wednesday, we do have 3 team matches in total.
Yes. Go through the rest of them, basically. The last of the team matches now, as State mentioned, which 4 teams are going into the postseason is pretty much fixed. However, the standings can change up based on today's matches, and that'll not only affect which teams get to go to the winners finals first, but also it affects the seeding as well, which we'll explain in a little bit why that matters. But there you go, Finale Esports versus SANDBOX. I mean, that's a match of SANDBOX trying to cement their own destiny of trying to secure that 2nd place, while Finale they just want to escape 8th place here, right? Put up a better record before the preseason ends.
Yeah, they want to win a match in speed mode. They haven't won one yet. I mean, it's an exciting team. They're a lot of fun to root for, and you can see the potential there. It's a young team, but as of yet, not really able to deliver. And then later, of course, we will have Aura versus the KWANGDONGFREECS. It's another fantastic match. And then Planet versus ReBoot will close things out tonight, and it should be another fun day of Kartrider Drift.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, on Wednesdays, we do take a break from the solo matches. Those will return over the weekend. And again, the team matches, it's not that they're over today. This is just the part of the round robin stage. And then we'll go into the postseason, which will be a 4-team double elimination tournament, or kind of semi-double elimination tournament, right? There's a winner's final. But let's move on to the first match of tonight. The first team up, it's going to be Finale Esports, currently in right at the bottom of the leaderboard, but they're trying to leave their mark with an upset here.
Yeah, trying to leave their mark with an upset, trying to end the season, end the preseason here on a high note. And I mean, you see it on their faces when they have a good result, when they win item modes or when they win rounds or anything like that. They're happy, they're excited. You know, you get a lot of good feelings from this team. I mean, even Banana right now clapping on stage coming up there. I mean, they've got a lot of charisma, and I'm hoping that they have a better go of things as the Kartrider Drift League, continues on over the course of this year. It's a team that has shown a lot of potential, but Liiv SANDBOX, arguably top 2 team in this league right now, up there with the KWANGDONGFREECS, going to come onto the stage.
Yeah, I mean, to some extent, a little bit of a Titanic action here between Neil and Insu. I love it.
These guys are so fun.
Neil's been getting just more and more praise. I mean, obviously in the past as well, but as even the KDL has been going on, the Korean fans actually praising him a lot for just his efforts to get to know the Korean fan base a lot more, the Korean community, of course, as he's continued to play on a Korean team here in SANDBOX. We even saw it in some of those, behind-the-scenes clips of him speaking Korean with the rest of his team. Obviously, he's been doing it in some of the interviews as well.
Our production team does interviews with the players before we start the preseason, and we ask players, what do you want to accomplish outside of Kartrider Drift League this season? Some players like, I want to lose weight, I want to gain weight, I want to go to the gym, I want to get healthy. I think World was saying, it was World or Cool was like, I want to get global fans.
Oh yeah.
And for Neil, he's like, I want to get better at Korean.
Yeah,
so,
it's like the reverse for him.
Yeah, he's putting the work in,
All right, well, no place to retreat, of course. Last match, they're already in 8th place, but they want to get out of it. There is a chance, right, if they can win today, and depending on Planet and ReBoot's match at the end of the day, Finale could end up at 7th. And them just kind of challenging Liiv SANDBOX to say, oh, you guys are trying to cement your own destiny. Well, we might bring you to an ace match first and see how it goes.
Yeah, we might bring in, throw a wrench into your machine, the machine of Liiv SANDBOX, as Finale right now tied with Planet there for 7th and 8th place. They would love to pick up a win here. It would be a huge upset.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think you know, even ROX versus Liiv SANDBOX, just as team brands, ROX does have a history of kind of being the SANDBOX's kryptonite at times, but even that was technically considered an upset, right, just because of how solid this entire roster of 5 seems on the side of SANDBOX. But, I mean, these guys, I think over time, they will look unbeatable, right? I mean, just the level of strategy they bring to both the speed and the item mode. That's the impressive part.
Yeah, I mean, you think of Liiv SANDBOX, and they're easily a top 2 speed team here in the KDL, but also they're the best item mode team, and it's one of the reasons why we were so surprised to see ROX come back and win item mode. The worst item mode team is actually, let's see that they're talking about the ROX match. I think we can win if we focus on Jung. Oh wait, is finale today?
Yeah, they've completely just erased it from their memories. Their coaches have just put them back in the time chamber, sent them back in time. We gotta be able to beat ROX. So it's like, nope, no time machines in today's day and age yet. SANDBOX, sorry about that one.
Morale's broken. The coach brings out like the Men in Black. The little pen flashes in their eyes. Their memories are erased. It's like, no guys, it's all right. We're still unbeatable in item mode, but you know, before we get there, let's focus on speed mode. Track list coming out here. Finale Esports versus Liiv SANDBOX.
Yeah, so we're starting things off on Gold Rush and then Terracotta Twister, some favorites here. And then Boostwood, don't see that one as often. And then if we do go to round 4 and 5, SANDBOX will pick up Glacier Extreme Stadium, and Finale has picked Boom Hill Tunnel as the last one.
Yeah, glad we're going to see Terracotta Twister here in this series. Second map, so that one's guaranteed. I'm also a little surprised to see Boostwood. Especially this early, you know, round 3 instead of like round 5. Not really a common pick here, but I mean, it is the preseason, especially here for Finale as it is their map choice. Maybe they're just trying some things out. I mean, the pressure's off right now if you're Finale Esports.
And I think also just maybe going for some of these wider tracks, knowing that, you know, SANDBOX, if they go into the tighter tracks as soon as they get the lead, I mean, you've got players like even Insu, who's supposed to be, you know, on the speed side of things, but he's so good at those kind of physical scuffles, right, during the races. So Finale trying to go a different route. Now, I did want to mention Finale. One of the tracks they're really good at is Extreme Stadium, but that's going to be round 4, so we'll see if it gets there. But ladies and gentlemen, we're kicking things right off. Going to track 1 between Finale and SANDBOX. It's going to be Mine Gold Rush.
And here we go. Cartwriter Drift League continues again this Wednesday. Finale versus Liiv SANDBOX. Hyunsu off to a great start up there with the speed ace Yoon of Finale. Finale hoping to score an upset here in the speed mode against one of the best speed mode teams in Cartwriter League.
Yep, Striker, we saw that at the very beginning, just kind of falling way behind and then just deciding to go for the harder cuts there just to fill up the boost gauge, see if he can catch back up. Meanwhile, Yoon doing what he can to stay in the front. I mean, you don't want to fall too far behind between both Hyunsu and Neil, because at that point, either Sunghao or Insu could start wrecking havoc, and you won't be able to get either of the 1-2 spots.
Yeah, and you can even see Neil coming in right now, trying to do a little bit of body blocking here, throwing in some collisions on Yoon, trying to allow Hyunsu to build a bit on this lead. But as it is right now, Liiv SANDBOX kind of fortifying their position here at the top of the roster, holding 3 out of the 4 spots in the standings. As Yoon, I mean, if Finale is going to try and win this one, he's going to have to find his way into first place. But with 3 Liiv SANDBOX players around him, that's
I mean, this is looking tough. We saw it on the kind of broader mini-map there on the bottom right as well for a little bit. You can see it right now. Insu has now gone up to 6th place. What was happening is if he can just tie up both Taemin and Vanilla, I mean, Yoon and Striker, they have so much ahead of them to do with just between the 2 of them that it's already looking tough. And then on top of that, Striker already quite a ways behind as well. We can see that on the camera there. I mean, he does have a chance to catch up, but Yoon has to be able to get through first. Now, Liiv SANDBOX, they've kind of led way. They've given up that inner line just a bit, but they're making sure they can cut in here on that U-turn, and Neil jumps right back up to 2nd place.
Yeah, Neil taking a tight inner line there, and it's going to be Liiv SANDBOX is going to get that 1-2 finish. We'll see if Striker can try and stop this from going through. Oh, it's neck and neck here, but photo finish. Liiv SANDBOX going to take the 1-2, but I mean, they didn't even need it. 4 out of the top 5 spots is Liiv SANDBOX kind of flexing their muscles here in the first round of speed mode against Finale Esports.
Yeah, and I mean, this is one of those things about Liiv SANDBOX. Once again, I mean, for most of their players in that team mode, depending on where you end up, I mean, they're happy to just kind of swap roles, right, and do what they can in their position. Insu's so good, especially in that realm of, you know, he fell behind and he just said, okay, you know what, my teammates are ahead. I'm more than happy to take the rear, and just blocks out eventually 3 players from entering that finish in time, and is able to just secure that victory no problem.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of talk about this whenever we cast KWANGDONGFREECS, how everyone on that team except for their speed ace says that they're a runner.
Yeah.
But the team is so good at speed mode that they're flexible enough to just play the role that they need to, just given the way that things shake out. And I mean, that's what all these top speed mode teams can do. It's what Liiv SANDBOX just did with Insu, holding up the flank there for Liiv SANDBOX as, oh, I was getting ready to go into the map, but I think we got
a bit of a fake out. Bit of a fake out. We gotta wait just a bit longer.
I heard that beat switch up, and I'm like, wait a second. Not getting baited on this one.
Insu's always baiting our cameraman with his little keycaps there. I think it focused in right at that last second, but I think it was actually one of the characters in Kart Rider. But now it looks like we will be ready here for track 2, ladies and gentlemen. Currently, Liiv SANDBOX leading 1-0. It's Terracotta Twister. And we're off to the start here, 2-lapper here on World Tour Terracotta Twister. SANDBOX, of course, taking that swift victory on track 1. See if they can do it again. This time, Seungha all the way up front in the lead.
Yeah, Seungha with a massive lead into actually boosting Yoon a little bit there with the collision. As Seungha just kind of compounding that differential between first and second place. We'll see if FNL is able to close the gap, because it feels like with how strong Liiv SANDBOX is, and, you know, the middle of the pack here, I mean, the sweeping that we see coming out of this team is just phenomenal. It feels like Finale is going to have a hard time getting in position to win any particular track if they don't get at least first place. And here we go, coming in.
Oh, Neil with a nice straight boost there at the corner. Oh, and Yoon with some amazing recovery. Does not falter, even though Neil's trying to pressure him right off the track. I mean, that's great for you, and that gives them still a chance to be able to fight for the lead here. Now, Vanilla and Seungha, they're kind of in their own little 1v1. Neil seeing if he can actually provide any support, but happy to just lead the way for Hyunsu here to also come in. It's still going to be a tight battle here in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, but looking at the distance between Vanilla and Seungha right now, I feel like the rest of Liiv SANDBOX have really done their job to provide space for their racer who's running away with this thing. And you see now, Hyunsu, Insu, and Neil starting to close the distance a little bit here. And once again, it's very reminiscent of the previous track. We have Liiv SANDBOX holding almost all of the top spots.
Yeah, oh, it's unfortunate that the members of Finale kind of actually bumping against each other, losing a bit of that speed, because what could have happened is one of them had to have gone for like a straight boost here in this indoor section, try to knock off one, if not two members of Liiv SANDBOX. That was kind of their only hope right now, but as it stands, I mean, they've even lost the second place spot. It looks like it might just be out of their way here. Liiv SANDBOX running away with the speed mode here in this team match.
Yeah, Hyunsu and Seungha just miles ahead of Striker and the rest of Finale, as Liiv SANDBOX with an even easier 1-2 finish there, just continuing to show their dominance in speed mode. This is a mode that Finale Esports over the course of the KDL preseason has been really struggling to find their footing in. So far, they're 0-6 in sets in speed mode. They're 4-18 in rounds in speed mode. That's a dismal 18% win rate. And it's just not what you want to see here, as Seungha, I mean, that insult to injury, also setting a record here against Finale.
Well, I mean, when you have zero competition, right, for basically 75% of the race, I think you're happy to just go your own build, you know, as if it's just like a time trial here. Able to set a new record for the team mode here in KDL Preseason 1. And SANDBOX just trying to say, let's just get this match done with, right? Get a 2-0, kind of secure ourselves in that second place spot. And move along, because if they get that 2-0, I believe they do pretty much secure second place spot going into that winners finals against KWANGDONGFREECS.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be what they're looking for. They don't want this to turn into something where it's going to go to tiebreakers or, you know, rely on the way that the other matches shake out today, as we get a bit of a replay here of Hyunsu barely recovering. That physics is actually nuts.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he has the reaction to really be able to stay alive there, we saw that a little bit from both teams, in fact, in that indoor section. But, all right, well, last chance for Finale to see if we can get another track here in speed mode, or if we'll be jumping right into item mode as we go to track number 3 between these two teams. It's World Tour Boostwood.
go. Liiv SANDBOX hoping to close this one out with a clean 3-0 sweep in speed mode heading into that item match. Insu off to a nice start already. One of the better beginnings here for Finale, though, I have to say. Striker and Taman contesting the top spots. We'll have to see how they hang with Liiv SANDBOX collisions here, because the body blocking so far has just been on point. You see it again right now. I mean, watching Taman's perspective, him trying to find gaps to close the distance and just getting blocked out at every turn. I mean, Hyunsu.
Yeah. I mean, he's just not letting anyone approach Neil, and this is kind of one of the most ideal scenarios for Liiv SANDBOX. Neil being perhaps quote-unquote the weakest in terms of sweeping on this team, given that he hasn't really played on the team mode too often before KDL. I mean, not at all, really, and now he's trying to get used to it, but I mean, even now, today, I would say, actually, we've seen a little bit more of sweeping from Neil. Looks like he's really been practicing with the team to bring that up where they can all be flexible. Now, Finale potentially picking this track to avoid much of that physical battle, given that it's much wider, but it's still, I mean, Liiv SANDBOX is actually looking for these fights. You can see that.
Yeah, they're just continuously gunning for it, and oh man, almost getting sandwiched there was Vanilla's. Neil's trying to block him out, and yeah, sweeping Yoon right there. You said it. This is something that he's been improving as an aspect of his gameplay pretty much all preseason, is Liiv SANDBOX in a tight race right now, 20-19. They're going to try and hold on to these positions, but if a couple shakeups, if Yoon's able to take first place here, Finale might win a track.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how Neil has constantly been just putting people right behind him again as he tries to catch up, potentially even gunning for first here. He's going to go from the out to in here just to close off Striker again. Striker does find one opening, but Neil says, all right, you know what, will that speed versus Yoon? Oh, he's trying to go for the straight boost. Yoon still finishes first, but it's not going to be enough.
Yeah, that collision looked a little bit concerning there, but able to deliver the 2-3-4 finish was Liiv SANDBOX, and it's going to be a 3-0 sweep here in speed mode. And I mean, the speed mode woes here continue for Finale Esports now. 0-7 in set, 4-21 in tracks. It hasn't really been their forte here.
No,
in the preseason.
Yeah, I mean, we'll say it like it is, especially because it is just the preseason so far. Obviously, this is kind of one of the goals of the preseason, is for teams to be able to identify, get the reps in, figure out what they want to work on before the official season's launch. And right now, Finale, I mean, speed mode is where everything starts, right? Yes, there is item mode. Yes, there are ace matches, but if you're always going down on the speed modes, it's going to be rough. And Neil just thanking the fans here for all the support, having some fun on stage. You can tell SANDBOX, they weren't concerned at all for today's match.
No, just calm, cool, and collected is Liiv SANDBOX. Neil pretend to be shy.
Yeah, just having fun after all that celebration.
Yeah. All right. So Banana's going to be swapped in here. Vanilla coming out. I feel like we're looking at a cooking recipe right now.
Yeah. Take out the vanilla.
Yeah.
Put in a little bit of banana. Right. That's your recipe.
A little bit too close there. Yep. Back it off. There we go.
There
Finale key cap here for Banana. Banana, one of the easier players to root for here in the KDL. As I mean, despite Finale Esports not having the best run of things here in the KDL Preseason 1. I mean, Banana, he's been all smiles this entire time. He is the item ace on this team, so he's going to try his best to lead them to victory. Neil just casually reclining, relaxing a little bit in that nice chair as he will be swapped out for the item ace, Jimin. And yeah, excited for this next match. It's always fun to see Banana play here in item mode. He has some zany builds. Always opting for those big boost plays there at the end. It hasn't really been any team's kryptonite just yet. We'll see if it works here against Liiv SANDBOX. I mean, after last weekend losing against Rocks.
Yeah, I mean, that was their
I'm not sure.
That was SANDBOX's first loss, though, right? I mean, they've actually been kind of the team to beat here in item mode. And looking at the tracks here, starting things off on Glacier Polar Halfpipe, then Pharaoh's Pass, Magma Cavern, Cogwheel Crush, and Mother Lode. Now, we should note, SANDBOX also winning the coin flip in today's match, and they've chosen, actually, item priority, so they get that first pick here.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, item mode is the one thing that Finale really has going for them here in this preseason with Banana's leadership, is they're able to force those ace matches by losing in speed and then recovering an item at least sometimes. So Liiv SANDBOX, I mean, they just want to make this a 2-0 sweep and secure that second place finish. You know, don't have to worry about anything else in the standings if you have that clean 2-0 today.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if it does go to 2-1, there is a chance, depending on how Aura's game goes next, that SANDBOX may not be able to secure that second place, but obviously they're trying to avoid that fate altogether as we go into the first track of item mode between these two teams. It is Glacier Polar Halfpipe. and the item mode begins between Finale Esports and Liiv Sandbox. Polar half pipe, as we often like to talk about. You know, not exactly the widest of tracks, but still, you know, generally enough room to be able to dodge any of the water bombs or things like that, as we just saw right there from Banana. Look at that, Banana reading into my mind.
Yeah, balloons. Kind of difficult to dodge, but we rarely see them connect here as these people just... These racers, they're so good at hugging the tight outer line on this track. You rarely see those attacks come in. Usually it's going to be water whiffs or rockets that are going to be the ones connecting and actually causing trouble for any of these players, but we'll see how this one begins to shape up, as this is a 3-lapper, so we do have considerably more track left to go. Now, Banana coming in through with a 4.064 build, might be one of the players that Finale is looking to set up to go for that final Hail Mary play at the finish line here in item mode. It hasn't been working for this team so far, despite them continuously kind of building Banana up in this way to just really emphasize the boost. But I like the concept, especially in the winner-take-all format that is, you know, item mode, where first place just decides who wins the track.
Yeah, oh, Insu trying to actually block Yoon as he gets UFO'd so they both get slowed down. I mean, Insu, one of the reasons I think he's gained so much popularity in Korea is he's also just looking for some zany ways to play Kart Rider, both in speed and item mode, as we continue to see him just try to vie for this spot, make sure that, you know, if he's not getting ahead, no one's getting ahead. Now, of course, we do enter the last lap. Taking a look, Yoon double boost. Sungha does have that boost and Magnet. And we do have a couple more boosts being saved up as well. So Sungha, that one Magnet could be the deal breaker here.
Yeah, that's probably going to be him being the lead runner here for Liiv Sandbox coming into the final part of lap number 3 with that nice combo of the Nitrous and the Magnet. Looking at Finale, they don't really have anybody set up with quite the same item set as we're getting closer to that finish line. We'll see these items come in here. Getting ready to use them right now is Insu. Going to be using that Nitrous in just a second. Actually, Jimin coming from the back. Magnet going to be going through, and actually Finale coming through there in the clutch. I think that was Banana with the Magnet, able to deliver the finish there right at the finish line. And Finale doing what they do best, winning in item mode. It's been their plan of attack so far here in the KDL preseason, working so far in track number 1, and now Liiv Sandbox. You know, not the start that you want here in item mode. You don't want to go down in tracks against a team that, although they might not be as accomplished as you in item mode, specializes in this.
Yeah.
Because you really do want to avoid any kind of tiebreaker situation that might have you fall at the 3rd place instead of 2nd place of the overall standings heading into the postseason.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I mean, right at the end there, Sandbox, they had a couple of the attacking items trying to look for a timing, but the Angels kept coming out on the side of Finale, so then they decide, okay, what can we do? Can we wait for Magnet to pull back Yoon? But Banana actually uses his own Magnet as well to catch up and just boost him and Yoon forward by kind of pushing him right in front of his own car, so they get that first place finish. See if they can continue it here in track 2 of item mode between Finale and Liiv Sandbox. It's Desert Pharaoh's Pass.
All right, Finale Esports looking to add some momentum to this comeback now. Looking for an item mode win to force an ace match here against Liiv Sandbox and hopefully put a nice little cap on the end of this KDL preseason, which has really not gone their way.
Yeah, and I think, you know, also you might as well try to get some kind of dramatic finish here, right, with an ace match, you know, against a team like Liiv Sandbox. If you can get the win, even better. Finale, I mean, they're really just playing to kind of leave a good memory here, as we see just a little bit of, you know, infighting between these two teams.
A lot of body blocking there by Yoon. It's actually just pull off the track.
Yeah, I mean, he just doesn't gain enough speed after all that blocking on his own. But of course, in item mode, you'll have enough time to catch back up, especially depending on the items. But even after that, you know, the first place is going to be able to just constantly boost away. So not too big of a concern. Now, what is the concern is, of course, going to be your arsenal. What do you keep? What do you choose to keep? What do you choose to cycle through? I mean, if you do fall too far behind, you are going to have to cycle through your items just to catch up.
I was a little concerned there on the previous track for Finales. It seemed like they didn't have as good an item set up there as Liiv Sandbox did. But no, they were able to play through it. Banana coming through with that clutch Magnet. We'll see exactly what their setup is going to be coming through with as we get ready to go into lap number 3. That finish line just a little bit further ahead. And you know, looking at the stats right now, we have Nitrous and a Magnet here on Jimin. Insu holding on to both the Angel and I think a Nitrous. So a lot of utility here for Liiv SANDBOX. A lot more even it feels than the previous track.
Yeah, now Yoon kind of being set up to go first because Banana's holding onto that Magnet and a boost as well. So Banana actually just drawing out that UFO as well, so Yoon can continue forward. Banana can always catch back up with that Magnet and boost. It's kind of the same formula that they had before. Now he's going to have to go forward because of all these attacks coming in. Yoon not able to keep a hold of that first spot. The Angels are starting to come through here for Finale.
I'm liking Finale's position right now. They have a lot of players that are going to be close to the front of the pack to use these key items to try and get through. At the finish line, 500 meters away, Banana right now with a shield and the Magnet's going to be trying to set himself up to propel himself past Insu, but actually it's going to be Striker there from Finale on the outside. We barely caught a glimpse of it, but Striker going to deliver the win, and Finale going up 2-0. This is getting complicated here for Liiv SANDBOX.
Yeah, and what I really like there at the end is Banana tries to bait all the aggro here by boosting first right off the jump to try to get the better course there right around the last corners. And so that actually does draw out Liiv SANDBOX to use their boost and magnets to be able to overtake Banana, at which point his teammates actually all use their magnets as well just to catch right back up. We'll see if we can catch a replay. If not, we'll be moving right in. We'll see in the highlight reel later, I'm sure. But, oh, actually, Seungha ties together.
Oh, was it tie? I didn't
right
even
at the
notice
same time.
it was a tie.
Yeah. Because well, with the ties, it just shows them in whichever order. So
yeah.
At the end of the day, they both get a point. All right.
All right.
We didn't get to see the times until the scoreboard shows up, but all right, Seungha. I'm bringing it
okay.
a little bit. Now, this does mean if they both get a point, right? I mean, it's still gonna.
It's match point still.
It's still match point. Yeah, it doesn't really change here from Finale, but this is the very beginning of the race here. Yoon just not getting enough speed. Yeah, put that in the highlights here.
Yeah.
Now,
low lights here for Yoon.
Yeah, the highlights and the low lights, we catch all of them here in KDL. Now here right at the end, Banana has drawn enough aggro, and look at all the magnets coming out from the rest of his teammates as well. Striker, oh, it's just right on either side of the finish line as well.
They're so far away from each other. It was almost, at that point, you're looking at it and you're almost following the standing boards on the left side to see who's going to be the one that's going to finish in first, but now we're going to get a tie, so match point now. Finale Esports needing one more track win to force an ace match. Can they do it here on Mine Magma Cavern?
Match point Finale trying to take this to the ace match against Liiv SANDBOX, and then of course we'll have to find out who, if at all, will be entering that ace match. Of course, in the beginning, most players just trying to make sure they can get the items so they can start to pick and choose what they cycle through here.
Yep, just a couple of early attacks coming in as, I mean, nothing better to do with these attacks. You're not really banking any items here in a 3-lapper on Magma Cavern for that finish line, so we'll see exactly how these lineups start to shake out. So far, I've been really impressed with the way that Finale's been playing, you know, the final parts of each lap. It's been solid for them on every single track. You know, we thought that they won even track number 2 with that fantastic combo. I loved you pointing out Banana setting up his team, and as the item ace, you know, that is his responsibility as the play caller to really make those decisions and come up with those strategies. And so far, it's been working for them. If they're going to force an ace match, I feel like they might be able to do it here.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the goal. Now, in the first 2 tracks, what we saw was Finale always planting someone like Yoon, and it actually does end up being Yoon both times, to just be in the lead the whole time, and then Banana and his teammates start to really pile on their arsenal, and then they're probably discussing around round 2 what their plan is. Now, if we look at their items right now, they don't have a solid plan here for lap 3. They're going to have to cycle through these water bombs now.
They're going to have to cycle really quickly here. It feels like Liiv SANDBOX might actually be running away with this thing, which is not something that we usually feel here in item mode that much, but
Jimin's way far ahead. We can see it on the radar here on the minimap.
Look at that! He's like,
yeah, I mean, now you
get
could
the Hubble Space Telescope or something to zoom in on Jimin. I mean, he's so far away. They can see the attacks right now coming in for Liiv SANDBOX. They're changing up their game plan a little bit here, trying to propel Jimin into a position where he can actually just win this thing.
Yeah, and Banana doesn't have a magnet either, so he can't catch up. The EMP,
oh my
no,
goodness.
It's already been used. And then the water bomb on top of the UFO and another UFO. How have they cycled through this in time? Banana now in the lead with another boost as well, but he's still trying to draw aggro, make sure that they don't lose that first spot. But the
water balloon
hits both.
The water balloon comes in. Insu's able to dodge the final water balloon right on the finish line. Take it from the right side, as that was one of the most chaotic finishes that we've had here on an item mode track. Liiv SANDBOX coming through with the win, and man, that was a crazy one. What a wild ride.
Wow. I mean, I thought the fact that they had double UFOs lined up, and so despite the EMPs, able to bring down Jimin right at the front, and then eventually Banana even making sure that they have one more member so that they can secure with any sort of body blocking or aggro pulling to be able to get that first place. And then the water bomb hits in the exact location where it's so hard to dodge without falling off the map right before the track opens up again. Great setup from Liiv SANDBOX to tie things up 2-2.
I love that play coming from Finale to try and close the distance there with those attacks, but unable to actually manifest a win here to get some more low lights here. I mean, the item mode low lights, it feels like a comedy reel almost.
Yeah, I mean, it's just people getting jolted, but look at it, so perfect. Like,
wow.
You cannot dodge it unless you slow down and back off because it's right after the doorway, and that is, I mean, that's something that you have to have practiced so well in terms of placement, right? You just know that they either get caught or they have to stop, and we're all starting back on square one. So SANDBOX once again proving just how efficient they are, how well practiced they are here in item mode. And guess what? We're going to match point only on track number 4, thanks to that tie on track 2. It's between Finale Esports and Liiv SANDBOX as we go to Factory Cog Wheel Crush.
Final match of item mode here between Finale Esports and Liiv SANDBOX. Who will take track number 4? Finale Esports, if they win this one, they will be able to force that ace match here against Liiv SANDBOX. Liiv SANDBOX, if they win, will secure the 2-0 overall and solidify their position in second place here in the KDL preseason.
Yeah, I mean, Liiv SANDBOX, they would love to do that and be able to rematch against KWANGDONGFREECS as well right away to try to make sure they can prove themselves, get into the grand finals nice and early. That's everybody's dream here in team mode or team matches here at the KDL. See if that comes true, though. Finale, they've been putting up a great fight here in item mode.
Oh, it's been so close every single track. We even had a tie on track number 2. Finale won track number 1 with a nice comeback win. And then track number 3, just barely Liiv SANDBOX with a clutch water balloon, able to close it out. So, I mean, Finale, they've definitely been improving overall, throughout the course of this preseason, and you'll love to see it. You'll love to see them finding some success here as, we start getting closer here to lap number 2, and here as a 2-lapper on Cogwheel Crush. We start paying attention to those item loadouts, and you see a lot of players for both teams right now already holding on to both that Nitrous and the Magnet, that heavily coveted combination of items that can propel a team into victory from the jaws of defeat.
Yeah, and we've seen that a lot here in Cogwheel Crush, one of those maps where there is a upper and lower track right at the end there. And so the way you can try to line up these magnets to boost above or below that first place has really been throwing off a lot of the teams here in the KDL. See if that comes into play. Looking at the arsenal, one of these teams is definitely going to be able to cross that finish line with that same strategy.
Almost everybody in the top 4 right now has a magnet, which is just absolutely crazy. Liiv SANDBOX, I'm liking their position a little bit more here right behind Finale, but we'll have to see how this one shakes out. It can get so chaotic so quickly here.
I mean, the goal's got to be...
Oh my god, we're going to go through the boost tunnel too.
Well, if Yoon's up first, I mean, Yoon has to be able to draw aggro from both the opponents and for his teammates as well, since everybody kind of has the same arsenal. That's what they're trying to do. Striker actually just trying to draw that aggro as well, but he gets pulled back. Jimin just blasts right through the barricade with the Angel. And SANDBOX, they are going to be able to close things out, winning both speed mode and item mode.
Angel Shield coming through in the clutch there for Liiv SANDBOX, and Jimin just able to plow through and deliver the first place finish here on track number 4 in item mode. That's going to be Liiv SANDBOX coming through with a clean 2-0, solidifying their position. They will be placing second in the KDL preseason overall, avoiding any potential tiebreakers or having to worry about these other team standings. And that's got to be, a relief off their shoulders to win right here on this track. But, I mean, what a great way for Finale to go out. I mean, yes, they did lose this series 2-0, but it's against Liiv SANDBOX, one of the best teams here in the KDL. And, nope. It wasn't a 6-0, it wasn't a 6-1.
Yeah, I mean, they put up a fight, and I think if anything, Finale Esports, their bio has always been that focus on the item mode, and even then, they didn't have a great win rate, but to be able to take SANDBOX, who is arguably the best team in item mode here at the KDL, down to that match point, or that set point rather, I think that's a round of applause over to Finale. Of course, no team is going to be happy with just a consolation prize. But we have to remember it's just the preseason. We'll see if Finale, they continue to evolve throughout the year before the first official season of KDL kicks off later on.
Yeah, there's a long road here ahead at Kartrider Drift League Esports in Korea, and Finale Esports, just a team with a lot of promise. They already have shown and proven their prowess in item mode over the course of this preseason. One of the better teams in item mode, where a lot of these, even pro teams have frankly been struggling. So, maybe they can come through in the next preseason and then the regular season and shore up their speed mode game and really be a formidable team. But until then, today is Liiv SANDBOX's day, solidifying that second place finish. They're going to be really happy with this one.
Yeah, that means they will be going into that uppers finals against KWANGDONGFREECS here in the postseason in that tournament mode. See if they can get to the grand finals first. A nice rematch against KWANGDONGFREECS. I'm sure SANDBOX very happy about that. Now they do go in as the second place team, so they get the lower seed, aka the blue side, which means that they do not get to choose speed or item priority. KWANGDONGFREECS will have that, and we'll wait to see how that shakes up later on in the weekend.
Yeah, and we've often seen teams kind of choose that priority just to solidify their position. Because, of course, being able to get 3 out of 5 tracks as your pick and being able to prepare specifically for that, it helps you a lot in preparing for a match and coming through with the plan to win. And so, second place seed, not what you want in terms of going head-to-head against the FREECS, but Liiv SANDBOX, if anyone can beat the FREECS, it's going to be them.
Well, yeah, they are the ones who have put up the best fight against FREECS, and we also have to remember that was the week when they had to make that bit of a roster change, right, where Jimin had to come in for the speed mode as they were as Sunga was going through a bit of a recovery. And so we'll see, now that they're back in full force with the full 5, does that change the eventual outcome between KWANGDONGFREECS and Liiv SANDBOX again?
It almost feels like it's going to come down to ace matches in those games because, Liiv SANDBOX, they're just so good at item mode. The KWANGDONGFREECS, admittedly, Liiv SANDBOX, they are good at speed mode, but nobody matches the FREECS right now here at the KDL.
Yeah, in terms of just team mode, speed, KWANGDONGFREECS, they look quite unbeatable, right? And it comes down to what you mentioned before, State, and just that they're just 4 runners, right? They're just built to win that speed mode no matter what.
It's almost like they play positionless speed mode too, because it doesn't matter, who's in what position. They will do what the team needs to secure the win every single time, and they're also good at every single role. Any one of those racers can, get that first place lead, and if they start running away with it, they are not going to give it up.
Yeah.
And any one of those players also, they get a bad start. They have some unfortunate collisions. They fall to the back of the pack. They can also sweep and control some of the other players on the other team and keep them, in position 7, position 8, something that we saw Liiv SANDBOX do today against Finale Esports. And, they're just such a force to be reckoned with. It's going to be a fun postseason.
Yeah, it comes to the territory, especially of KWANGDONGFREECS, of course, just having the 4-man roster, right? One of the pro teams to only have 4 players instead of 5, where they swap out the speed and item ace or something like that, or a runner and an item ace. So curious to see how that continues to develop. Maybe in the next preseason or the official season, they'll eventually fill out a roster of 5 as well. Who knows? But for now, so it's going to be KWANGDONGFREECS and Liiv SANDBOX up in positions 1 and 2 on the leaderboard. They go to the upper bracket finals. Now, places 3 and 4, the seeding still up in the air, right? ROX and Aura, they are fixed as the other 2 teams who enter the postseason, but Aura plays next, and if they can get that win, depending on their score, they might be able to overtake ROX and get that red side, get that first priority choice in that postseason matchup.
Yeah, if they're able to tie ROX overall in score, they're probably going to be the 3rd place finish because ROX is... they've just been relying on the ace matches, right? They have a negative round differential overall here in the KDL preseason. So Aura, there's a lot at stake here, both in match number 1, with Liiv SANDBOX winning, and coming up soon with match number 2. Should be another fun day, man. It's so good to be back here at the KDL. I love doing this.
Yeah, the KDL has been fun, and the fact that, again, we're kind of having these short bites here in the preseason before we launch into full gear, no pun intended, right at the end of the year here. So these are just really teasers, right, for us and the players as well. And then we have currently the preseason 1 and then preseason 2 in the middle of the year, and then the official first season of Kartrider Drift League. So lots to look forward to for the rest of 2023. But right now we'll focus on today's matches. As you mentioned, Aura playing next now. They are going up against the monsters, KWANGDONGFREECS. We've just been talking about them and why they're so good. Curious to see. I'll just say it like it is. I think the only way Aura has a chance is to take it to an ace match, right? Probably not winning the speed mode. So we'll see what they've cooked up there.
It feels like kind of the same story here as match number 1 with Finale versus Liiv SANDBOX, where Finale, their best chance was to win an item mode. You're not going to beat Liiv SANDBOX in speed, frankly. Just not your team's not in position to do that yet, and then try and force that ace match. We'll see if Aura can do it, though, because another thing about the Freaks is not only are they so good at speed mode in, team match, but also just 1v1. They're also so good. Any one of those players could be an ace.
Exactly. They can send anybody out, and we've seen that before in some of the behind the scenes as well. That's one of the teams where kind of all four are always in the discussion on who will enter the ace match depending on their condition that day and the track. Now, one thing we'll be able to talk about more once we're getting ready for that second match is also there's a lot of history behind the players on Aura and Kwangdong Freaks. Many of the players on Aura actually having played on Kwangdong Freaks prior and with some of the players currently on Kwangdong Freaks like World. So there's just a lot of familiarity and a lot of kind of rivalry and some friendliness, friendly banter between these two teams. So Aura, while they might not be under a pro team banner today, the players are not, anyone to laugh at, right? I mean, they've clearly got the repertoire and the history to combat Kwangdong Freaks at an individual level.
Yeah, and those Aura players on the old school Kwangdong Freaks back in like the early 2020s, they were the item mode specialists. So maybe they're going to try and carry a little bit of that expertise here against the Kwangdong Freaks today and hopefully force that ace match and try to come up with a miracle win. We'll see exactly what their game plan is going to be.
Yeah, we gotta finish the round robin with a couple more ace matches, right? We can't go out on a fizzle. We gotta go out with a bang.
I can't believe we went I think I went maybe 3 or 4 days of casting without getting a single ace.
Yeah, you did. You kind of started it off real slow there.
Yeah, but I've been spoiled now with these Jong ace matches, man. It's just been so much fun.
Well, Jong's also just been giving us so many ace matches, right, on the side of Rocks. And I mean, I think that's one player that both globally and within Korea, everyone's like, okay, if you followed Kart Rider Rush Plus, you know about this guy. But if you haven't, I mean, he's kind of this new monstrosity of a player where you're like, what is your ceiling? Because maybe you're not there yet.
It's actually insane. I mean, it almost feels like he might be the best individual racer right now here in the team match format. Yeah, I don't think anyone can beat him in an ace match right now. He's just on fire.
I would say so. I think we can confidently say in the current time, right? Not in terms of overall potential or later on in the year, but in the current time, like, you cannot beat Jong. I mean, he's proven it. He's played against 5 different people in ace matches and won all of them. I mean,
5 aces, 5 teams, won every single time in the highest pressure situation.
Yeah. And the way he wins them, too, if you haven't, go back and check the highlights. It's crazy. But we're going to go to a break. When we come back, it's going to be match 2 for the night. Don't go anywhere.
특히나 오늘 루닝이 어려울 때마다 지금 상위로 계속 찍고 있는데 지금도 코스 얻으면서 원투를 유지하고 있어요.
코스가 지금은 계속해서 블로킹을 해주고 있는데 뒤쪽에서 드래프트 타이밍 한 번만 봤더라도 바로 1위까지 도달할 수 있는 거리거든요. 가드와 퍼센트가 뭉쳤던 건 좋지 않았습니다.
그리고 띵글도 올라왔는데 일단 가드가 끼어들었어요.
자, 순위가 너무 안 좋기 때문에 가드는 좀 과감하게 가거든요. 이거는 단순히 한 명 역전하려는 게 아니고 전체적으로 꼬이게 만들려는 전략이에요.
무리해야 된다고 말씀드리려고 했을 때 호준이 완전히 큰 사고에 휘말렸던 것 같거든요.
퍼센트 아래쪽까지 내려왔고 몸싸움 통해서 쪽에서 한번 더 스피드를 뒤로 밀어내고 있는 띵이었고요.
와, 띵이 진짜 순간적으로 이거 바로 뒤쪽 가드라인 너무 좋았어요.
띵 진짜 좋네요.
상황에 따라서는 가드가 스탑까지도 불사하면서 순위 완전히 어그러뜨릴 수 있습니다.
그러니까 달리는 선수만은 아니거든요.
그렇죠.
가드가.
자, 하지만 그걸 루닝도 어느 정도 알고 있을 것
밀어야 돼요.
같은데.
오! 완전 꼈죠?
완전히 공중에서 밀어서 바깥으로 떨궈 버렸네요.
이러면 순위가
원투.
이거 완전 가드 리버시.
드랩
자, 원투.
맞아요. 스피드.
이렇게 해서 센세이션.
마지막에 근데 리브의 집중력 좋았을 때 원투를 무조건 만들어야 되는 상황이다 보니까 최대한 라인 블로킹을 해줬었는데 그걸 또 침착하게 센세이션 선수들이 뚫고 올라가 버리네요.
자, 월드가 1위를 하고 있습니다만 사실 편안한 1위는 아닙니다. 뒤쪽에 소롱과 포수고 인수도 다 붙어있고.
트랙을 생각해 보면 누가 1등해도 이상하지 않을 만큼 다 이게 워낙 인기 트랙이기 때문에.
그렇죠.
자,
아슬아슬하게 근데 풀을 떨어졌고
떨어졌지만 들어왔는지가 중요하거든요.
이게 타이밍상 무조건 들어왔을 건데 지금 거리 차이 이 정도면 서로 다 할만하거든요. 풀은 여기까지.
와 그냥 올라오네요.
터널에 잘 진입을 해서 그냥 들어오네요. 와.
야 이거 불안해지는데 이거 6라운드 만에 끝나는 거예요?
방금 전에 일부러 안쪽으로 들어가는 게 아니라 그 다음 드래프트 타이밍을 기다린 것 같거든요. 이렇게 들어가려고.
또 밀었어요.
이렇게까지 과감하게 한다고요?
근데 아직까지 버텼을 때 월드가 또 파고들고요.
자, 서로 뒤에서 약간 드랩 타이밍 나왔을 때 과감하게 들어갑니다.
드랩 타이밍 콜이 뒤쪽에서 또 보고 있어요. 이거 인코스 열리면 쭉 들어가거나 아니면 드랩 발랐을 때
막힐 것 같은데.
바깥쪽으로 빠질 수도 있습니다.
초록이가 살짝 라인이 막히면서 본인이 원하는 만큼 가지 못했거든요.
자 지금 2위 썸은 지금 현수와 월드가
와!
보는데 쿨이 올라오면서 월드가 바로 뒤쪽.
근데 월드가 살짝 뒤로 눌러놔서 예상치 못한 4위.
그러면서 현수가 앞에 현수가
뒤쪽에 있는
월드
선수들이
현수가
경기 끝납니다.
이런 쿨이 그대로 경기 끝납니다.
끝납니다. 6경기 만에
그냥 끝.
첫 부스터를 모으고 그 다음에 쓰면서 다시 한번 부스터 게이지를 모으는 과정이 쿨이 정말 빠르네요. 그러다 보니까 순위 초반 스타트와 상관없이 앞순입니다.
최근 쿨이 좀 다른 그림을 많이 그렸는데 이번에 오늘은 또 달려나가는 모습도 있고 여기는 뭐 누가 앞으로 가도 아무 상관이 없네요.
네. 그리고 성빈이 이렇게 드래프트 받을 때마다 앞쪽으로 치고 나오는데 앞쪽으로 치고 나온 이후에 인코스를 살짝 열어둔다면 그거 함정입니다. 잘못 들어갔다면 거기서 경기 터져요.
자, 그래서 이 플라이는 지금 뒤를 볼 거 없이 앞쪽만 바라보고 가야 되는데 이거 정말 무섭게 상호가 이빨을 늘어 내밀러 가거든요 지금.
왔어요.
살짝 또 누르고 갔어요.
아 그리고 에스 플레이 한 번 더 버티면서 위쪽으로 올라가고 있으면 순위 자체가 지금 너무 안 좋아요
네.
플레이.
그리고 2위에게 드랩을 걸 수 있는 타이밍이 안 나오고 거리가 안 나오기 때문에 쉽지 않을 것 같습니다.
너무 멀어지는데요. 이거 계속
이것이 스피턴이다라는 걸 보여주네요.
누구한테 포센트한테?
아마도요.
네.
또 하는데요, 또 하는데요.
아 이거 그냥
그냥
가는데 스피어.
스피어 유창현의 윷놀이가 시작됐습니다.
결국 월드 쿨 스피어까지 원토스를 그냥 잡아냅니다.
유창현 스페어가 원래 이렇게 화려한 퍼포먼스까지 보여주는 선수는 아니거든요. 그만큼 여유가 생겼고
네.
그만큼 실력에 자신이 붙었습니다. 자, 그렇다면은 근데 트랙 생각해보면 호준도 그러니까 예전부터 잘 달리던 트랙이기 때문에
예.
자신감 있게 주행을 할 거예요.
근데 루닝도 안 밀립니다.
위험
이렇게!
구간에서 오히려 앞쪽 먼저 선점하고 계속해서 스탑하면서 호준의 심리적인 압박을 이용하려고 하죠.
쫓아오란 얘기죠. 얘기는 루닝은.
그리고 루닝 나 언제든지 이런 플레이 할 거야.
또
지금
치나?
너무 좋아요
자,
루닝도.
호준이 어깨를 내밀 때마다 루닝 게스트를 맡고 있는데 한번 뚫었죠.
네, 이게 오히려 잠자던 사자를 분노케 할 수도 있는 거거든요.
자, 소문적 이제 슬슬 다가미는 일단 호준도 넘어갔고.
왜냐면 호준도 이런 도전 좋아하거든요. 나한테 많이 공격해라 내가 버틸게 이러면서 갑니다.
자, 위험한 지역을 일단 살짝 지나갔을 때 루닝은 뒤에서 일단 바라보고 있어요.
위험 구간에서 호준이 갑자기 스탑할 수도 있기 때문에 확실하게 내가 역전할 수 있는 구간이 나오기 전까지는 드래프트 발동되더라도 속도 조절하겠다라고 생각하는 타이밍이에요.
과감하게 아웃으로 빠지면서 최대한 감속 관리 하지만 호준도 눈치챘어요.
아직까지 한 번 더 버팁니다. 마지막 세 번째는
자, 이제 위험 구간 들어갔을 때 루닝이 거리 감각을 어떻게 유지하느냐 중요합니다.
서로 그냥 눈치 봤어요 지금까지는.
네, 서로 살짝 긁었고.
자, 스탑할 수 있기 때문에
여기.
순간적으로 드랩 받아요.
여기서 타이밍 서로 막히고요.
루닝 버텼죠.
마지막 드랩을 호준이 한번 받을 것 같습니다.
몸에 뒤에 아직까지.
자, 터지면은 지금 겹쳤는데 루니 끝까지 라이브로
다음 드랩.
근데 붙잡자 봐요.
루닉! 와, 호주를 상대로 단 한순간도 주눅들지 않았습니다.
호주의 공격을 피하지 않았고 오히려 본인이 주도권을 가져갔고요. 정말 무섭게 성장했네요.
드래프트 구간이 그 드래프트 타이밍이 거기서 호준이 소모하면 그 다음에 기회가 없다는 걸 정확하게 알고 있었어요. 트랙에 대한 이해도도 기가 막혔습니다.
목의 리브 샌드박스 현재 이 상황에서 좀 어렵긴 어려워요.
방금 전에 드래프트 이용해서 닐이 합류하는 장면 예술이었죠.
자, 뒤쪽에서도 공격적인 상황들 많이 일어나는데 앞쪽 이번에 샌드박스가 주도권을 가져갑니다.
가장 좋았던 것은 쿨이 어차피 러너로 뛴다는 걸 아니까 현수를 일찌감치 앞쪽으로 빼줬다는 점이에요. 1대1을 만들어주고 있죠.
그런데 현수가 뒤쪽에 살짝 부딪히면서 빠졌고요.
자, 그러면서 성빈 스피어가 올라왔거든요. 이렇게 되면은 쿨이 조금만 더 시간 벌어주면 인수들이 이번에도 약간은 좀 힘겹게 끌려갈 수 있습니다.
리브 샌드박스가 지금 미들 순위가 탄탄한 편이 아니기 때문에 1대1 싸움에서 이겨내야 돼요.
자, 버튼 올라왔죠. 인수딜.
와, 이게 솔리드 프로인가요? 다 막아버렸는데요.
자, 파리가 멀긴 합니다만 원투가 깨지는 순간에 전체 순위가 요동칠 수 있기 때문에 이거 끝까지 봐야 돼요.
스피어가 날카롭거든요. 아직까지 한번 바라보고 있습니다만 인수가 1위를 달려나오고 있습니다.
안쪽까지
정돌. 그러면 이러면 누구?
광동! 야, 기가 막힌 한 방이 있었네요.
어떻게 이렇게까지 계산을 해서 만들어내나요?
피어니까 가능한 판단이었고 몸싸움이었고 스탑이었던 것 같습니다.
와, 이 벨트 구간에서 자체 실수들은 많이 하는데 이렇게 스탑을 해서 순위 터뜨리고 이기는 거 처음 봐요.
Welcome back, everyone. We are continuing with our second to last team match in the round robin stage. It is going to be Aura versus the Guangdong Freaks. And first up on stage, it is Aura.
Yeah, Team Aura fighting for third place right now in the preseason standings to get that better seed against Rocks heading into the postseason. A lot on the line here, and it's almost a David versus Goliath story here, as they will have to beat the Guangdong Freaks, the Speed Kings themselves, to do it.
Yeah, and that's not to say that Aura is necessarily an objective David-like team, but Guangdong Freaks are just like Goliath 2.0, you know what I mean?
Man, they're too big.
You just cannot try to approach those guys in a regular manner, so Aura, we'll see what their plans are today. I mean, most people expecting that the only shot they have is to try to take it on in item mode and then go to that ace match. But of course, here we go, the current #1 team in KDL Preseason 1, Guangdong Freaks, currently 6-0 in their matches, trying to see if they can get a 7-0 perfect score here in the round robin stage.
Yep, Freaks never were able to deliver a perfect score in the Kartrider League, you know, and now here in the KDL, it's a new game, new iteration of Kartrider. In the preseason, they would absolutely love to go 7-0, go perfect, don't lose a single set to any team. Hasn't been done before. Would be phenomenal to see him do it here.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, one thing we should note is we talked about this before the break, but Aura also has quite a few players that used to be on the Guangdong Freaks and then used to play with some of those members currently on it, like World, of course, Knock and Tech, and then C's as well.
Time.
Oh, it's
I like that.
It's our time. Get it? Oh, they're so clever. Ah, these hooligans.
I love not holding it up. Just like, do they get it?
Yeah.
Does anybody get it?
He's
Hello?
like, did they see it? Yeah, can I check? But yeah, Knock, C's, and Tech, 3 players that used to be on KDF. Knock and Tech are kind of that item mode specialist duo that State you mentioned before.
Yeah, you should wake up from a dream of a clean sweep.
Oh, okay, a bit of a challenge, seeing that they're going to give Guangdong Freaks their first loss finally here in the KDL.
It would be an impressive feat to be able to do it, and it would solidify their position and rank 3 here in the standings. They would be able to wear the red stripes heading into that 3rd and 4th place match in the postseason, but it's going to be a tough opponent to go through. I mean, the Freaks, they have been unstoppable so far here in team match, as they've already secured first place in the round of 8. Yeah. 1 match away from a clean sweep of the full league.
Yeah, and I mean, they're kind of signs just saying, you know what, it's our only goal now is to win, and that's what they've been doing, right? I mean, that's all they've been doing here.
That's all they know how to do, man.
Just saying, it's been a while. A little shout out to some former teammates and racers that used to be on the KWANGDONG Of course, you know, some members like World currently on KDF have played with his former teammates before, and then the coach as well, right? So a lot of familiarity between these two teams. Now, Aura, not only do they have players over from the old KWANGDONG they also have players from the old Blades, which was coached by Hojin himself, the Emperor, currently returned as a player. So again, they have quite a reputation in terms of individual career. But let's look at this. KWANGDONG they decided to take the speed mode priority, and they will be picking up the tracks. Now, one thing that comes to my mind, State, is that their first ban was on Rickety Rails, which was one of the only 3 track losses they've had in speed mode. So taking that right away, or taking that out right away, rather.
God, they've only lost 3 tracks in speed mode.
That's insane. Yes.
I had to check the stat sheet when you said that. I'm like,
Yeah.
Cobra, I hate to correct you, man, but you're wrong.
They
But no,
played-
you aren't.
Yeah, they played 21 tracks and they've only lost 3.
Yeah,
And they've won,
that's-
obviously, every single speed mode. So
Insane. So Pharaoh's Pass going to be track number 1, followed by New York Rally, Mine Winding Slope. And then let me see if I can check my sheet right here and see what the rest of those ones are going to be.
yeah, well, we'll take a look at some of the fans saying this is the year of Aura. Now this side cheering for KWANGDONGFREECS. Them saying they just want to go home early, so please make it a quick 2-0. Actually, we'll see if it comes to fruition. It's Aura versus KWANGDONGFREECS. We're going to KDF's choice. It's Desert Pharaoh's Pass.
And we're off here on Desert Pharaoh's Pass. KWANGDONGFREECS looking to go perfect here in the KDL preseason. Aura looking to pick up 1 win, make KWANGDONGFREECS bleed, and secure that 3rd place spot heading into the postseason.
Yeah, I'm just going to temper expectations for all of our viewers right now. If you're new, I mean, this is looking like an uphill battle. And Aura, if they do have a chance of beating KWANGDONGFREECS, it is most likely in that item mode. But again, we'll see. But you saw it in the highlights if you're here during the break. I mean, KWANGDONGFREECS, the way they win these speed modes, it's not just because they're great racers, but they have some crafty ways of really disrupting the enemy.
Yeah, I don't know who's doing the play calling on the Freaks, but whoever's doing it is doing a fantastic job. And you can see just the coaching paying dividends. Is, you know, Spear over the course of the entire preseason has been coming through with some absolutely crazy self-sacrificial plays to block players on other teams and, you know, solidify the win there, because really that's all that matters. It doesn't matter where any individual racer finishes on any particular track. It's all about how the team stacks up. And the Freaks, they're so good at, you know, building on each other's skills, but right now, Aura bringing the fight to them, man. I gotta say.
Yeah. I mean, C's and Hero kind of fighting against former teammates. C's, of course, on the KWANGDONGFREECS. Hero used to be teammates with Sungbin over on Blades, and now they're kind of fighting for that 1-2 spot against each other. Navi now coming for support against Hero. Aura's looking for that 1-2 finish.
Yeah, they're gonna see if they can get it right now. Sungbin and Cool hop on their heels, but Hero a little bit too far ahead, and actually C's gonna be able to come through in 2nd place. So Aura with a bit of a role reversal, going to take track number 1 here, give the Freaks their 4th speed track loss of the season.
The fact that we have to make that a big deal is crazy, but it is crazy. I mean, you know, KWANGDONGFREECS, they don't drop these tracks, and Aura, they came out swinging on KWANGDONGFREECS' choice of Pharaoh's Pass.
And you know, this is one of the insane things too, is that, you know, as the Freaks, you're so good at speed. You're one of the best speed mode teams in the KDL. Is actually Hero set a new record here on Pharaoh's Pass, really showing that Aura came to play. But I mean, for the Freaks, you're coming through and you're also prioritizing speed. It's like, okay, well, even if we do lose an item mode, you know, we don't care about it if that's our weak spot and that's Aura's strength. We're confident enough in the ace, but you know, Aura coming out swinging here in track number 1, winning and putting the Freaks in kind of an awkward spot on their pick.
Yeah, and I mean, part of it just came down to Aura having a good start and always having 1 or 2 members fighting for that number 1 spot, and that way, KWANGDONGFREECS, they couldn't run away with it. That was also a track where they couldn't just stop and ruin the entire run, so let's see how things change now as we go to track number 2. It's World Tour New York Rally. And the race begins. Aura leading 1-0 against Guangdong Freaks. Last time it was Hero taking the lead. This time he starts at the front again against Guangdong Freaks.
Wow, the Aura team Aura's off to a great start here yet again. Let's see if the body blocking can come through. See Sungbin taking that inner line, trying to close the distance right now on Hero, and is able to work his way up to second place.
Yeah.
And right behind him, the cavalry coming in, Cool World and Spear. They're not too far behind, but Sungbin, he's trying to do something to break up this pack.
Yeah, now he's going to have a couple chances as we go through a couple of these crazier turns, a little bit of this U-turn, but Sungbin, he's actually already been phased out. So now he has to catch up first if he wants to do any sort of disruption. World now catching up as well for that support. If one of them can cut in first and then set up for the rest of their teammates to catch up, they have a chance. But look at the top three. They're starting to run away with it.
Yeah, Aura's doing a great job. They're just drafting off each other, these top three players. They're trying to create some distance. And so right now for C's, the game plan is just create some collisions, cause problems here for the Freaks. Don't let them close the distance. But, I mean, the Freaks, this is what they do best. Sungbin and World already contesting top three spots is, I mean, they're doing a great job. The only question that I have right now is, will anyone be able to catch Hero?
No, I think Hero's already locked in for first place, more or less. There is a shot, but it's going to look tough. Now, meanwhile, Knock already now being pushed all the way back alongside C's to that 7th and 8th place. That might spell some trouble, even if Hero can get first. 2, 3, 4 locked in for Guangdong Freaks. Knock has to be able to catch back up on the last couple turns.
2, 3, 4 is a win condition here for the Freaks. Let's see if Spear can hold on. Knock is right behind him, trying to draft and boost his way, but it's a straightaway. There isn't a lot play. Freaks are going to come through and win track number 2, tying this one up 1-1.
So rough for Aura. Great start, and we saw it on the kind of zoomed out minimap as well. Looked like they were going to be able to run away with it. But Guangdong Freaks, the way they work with each other to always catch back up and start to create this disruption, and also I think understanding their win condition, right? And they say, all right, if Hero's away up front, that's fine. We can still go for 2, 3, 4, and we can still go for 2, 3, 5, 7. There's a couple of these other options, and as long as they're not stuck in 8th place, that there was always that hope, and they make it work.
Yeah, it just goes to show, you know, the teamwork here for Team Guangdong Freaks is impeccable. They've been showing it all KDL preseason. They're the team that, at least in speed mode, seems to gel the most together. Just great chemistry. You know, everyone, it feels like, knows what they have to do in every situation to play the role for the team, and just coming through in spades there. Aura, that's about as good a start as you're ever going to get against a team like the Freaks. And so for the Freaks to come back with a 2-3-4 finish is just phenomenal. Let's see if the Freaks can do it again. We're getting ready to go into track number 3. Freaks looking to continue on the quest to perfection as we go to Mine Winding Slopes. Here we go on Winding Slopes, and the Freaks already off to a much better start than they were on the previous track. World, Spear, and Cool already in top 3.
Yeah, we did see a bit of a crash back there,
Ooh.
So a couple of the players on both teams going to have to play catch-up as we look at Guangdong Freaks just trying to keep the entire lead. Now this entire track, a very tough track here in the KDL, quite narrow the entire time, and then of course several opportunities right at the end too to really disrupt the final jump.
Yeah, a lot of really tight turns. Actually, C's taking that a little bit too greedy there. Is going to knock him down to 8th place. So now for Team Aura, you have to start thinking about what your win condition is going to be coming in. As we actually have a lot more collisions.
Guangdong Freaks actually bumping into each other there on the shortcut, and they're going to lose a lot of that steam. Now Aura, if they actually just play it safe, they might be able to secure a nice little standing here.
And we're hitting a pole. The Freaks getting cold feet right now here.
Uncharacteristic of Guangdong Freaks. They're losing steam entirely. 1-2, running away with it here at Navi. And World trying to do whatever he can to catch back up, trying to stop Knock at the very least. But here's the thing, you got to be able to break up the 1-2 position. Spear doing what he can. He's going with that 5-2, 5-2 build, so just a little bit of extra boost power compared to his teammates. But Hero and Navi are way out in front.
There's no way. The distance is too great, and some really uncharacteristic mistakes by the Freaks here. I mean, we're talking about how difficult this track can be, or actually laughing about, you know, the tumultuous problems that the Freaks went through here on track number 3. And I mean, that's going to be another win going to Aura, but I feel like it wasn't a win that they got from racing well. Just something really went wrong there for the Freaks.
Yeah, I mean, especially that collision with each other on the shortcut, and then one of them having to skip out on the entire shortcut. And then I think from there on, what started to happen was all of them individually trying to just cut and greed, kind of change up their builds, and perhaps the communication breaks down, right? And you're starting to make mistakes that you normally wouldn't because you realize all of you guys are so far behind. But whatever it was, wherever it stemmed from, at the end of the day, Aura will secure that win. Now on set point in speed mode out of all the modes against KWANGDONGFREECS. KWANGDONGFREECS looking like they might actually lose their first ever speed mode in here, KDL Preseason #1.
Yeah, and this is their priority too. They have 3 out of the 5 map picks, so Aura so far winning both of KWANGDONGFREECS map picks. We actually get a replay here of some of these collisions.
Yeah, so first off, we had Knock getting knocked out of the race, really, right at the beginning. Yeah, C is greeting it too. I mean, both teams, right? Both teams.
It was a mess. And I want to see the shortcut coming up here. Yeah, oh, okay. So one of the players with the Freaks took it a little bit too greedy. They collided off the wall, rebounded. And their player, their teammate just did not see it coming.
Yeah, and they bump. So that one's off of a pure mistake. You're just trying to recover. Your teammate can't react in time. And then from then on, clearly just trying to catch up in whatever way they can, but it doesn't work out. So now they have one more shot to take it to set point here. It's going to be track 4 as Aura leads on Glacier Extreme Stadium. 2-1 lead for Aura, and let's note this was also one of the 3 tracks they have ever lost KWANGDONGFREECS before today's match, so see if Aura can add on another number. On top of that right now, Navi, Hero, and C's all trying to pressure Spear out of that first place position.
Yeah, nice start again for Aura as they have just come out with a vengeance here against the KWANGDONGFREECS. The Freaks are trying to go perfect right now. If they win this match, they will sweep the entire regular season here in the KDL Preseason. But Aura, I mean, just seemingly coming out of nowhere, one of the teams that's been struggling in speed mode throughout the entire preseason, now hanging with the best of the best. Season Navi in 2nd and 3rd place, Knockin' Hero right behind them, coming into these hairpin turns. It's been a good fight here for Aura. Let's see if C's can make some plays and try to pass Cool.
Well, Cool safely in front, and Spear also pressuring C's enough that C's can't make any sort of a risky play. Of course, you're still only on the first lap as well, so no one going too crazy. Navi tried to make a play against Spear, but Spear holds on tight. Now, one thing we need to remember, KWANGDONGFREECS, one of the teams that has been running mostly that 6-2, 6-0 build, so it goes to show that Aura, with the better boost time, they're going to get the lead early, but Kwangdong, if they can catch up and they start to bump up against you, they'll start to run away with it with their better acceleration.
Yeah, it almost feels like the Freaks want to play an almost team fight style in speed mode. They want to hit those collisions. They want to have everybody slowing down so that they can leverage their build for acceleration to their advantage. But it's working right now for them here. And set number 4, we might be going to a set number 5.
Yeah, and Cool has been banking up the team boost as well. That's part of the formula here for KWANGDONGFREECS' build. They need to make sure they're ahead in not only overall boost, but the team boost. And now Spear cutting in right on the inside line as well. Sees gets completely shut out. World there to sweep if he needs, but it doesn't look like it's going to be necessary as KDF, they look for a safe 1, 2, and 3 finish.
Yeah, KDF with a strong response to that last track loss, as they will be forcing a track number 5 here in team speed mode. And man, I mean, we were talking about this before we went live today. We were not expecting this match to go this far here in speed. We thought, if anything, Aura's going to win an item mode. They might force an ace match. That is possible. KWANGDONGFREECS, though, just unbeatable in speed. And now, I mean, we're still on match point here for Team Aura.
Yeah, and it's going down to Terracotta Twister. And
oh, boy.
Man, if we saw anything there on Winding Slopes, if either of these teams get a little aggressive, a little greedy, we could continue to see some more crash collisions here on that last track. But KWANGDONGFREECS, you can see it in their faces, even though it's preseason, even though they're locked in for first place, they do not want to take a speed mode loss to Aura out of all teams, right? I mean, this is kind of their pride, their bread and butter on the side of the KWANGDONGFREECS.
Yeah, they want to go perfect. Unable to do that in any KL season. Now here in the KDL, it is only the preseason, but still starting off a new league with 7-0 overall and continuing that perfect dream is just what they want to do, as we're going to go to track number 5 here in speed mode. Aura versus the KWANGDONGFREECS on Terracotta Twister. All right, here we go. Track number 5. Let's see if Aura is going to be able to come through with an upset here. Already off to a great start. Are Knock Navi in season 1, 2, 3, but this is a very tricky track. Too many.
Too many tracks, too many R's, yeah. Well, we'll see KWANGDONGFREECS now. Part of their build, again, because they have the better acceleration as well, they can also constantly make sure they're ahead in overall team boost gauge with their cutting as well. So I'm curious, Aura, I mean, surely you've studied their tape. What is your response to this? Just trying to hold on to number 1 is not a guaranteed answer.
Yeah, but with Knock in 3rd place right now, Aura is in a good position coming into some tight turns. We'll see how greedy these players decide to take it. Actually, World playing greedy there, but just, you know, threading the needle, able to take 1st place off of some fantastic moves. Knock and Navi right behind him with some team boosts in the back. We'll try to close the distance.
And meanwhile, we saw it in the lower right corner, but Sungbin just making sure that it's Aura locked in for 8th place, if not both 7 and 8. So that means Knock and Navi, they have to try to at least get 1st place, if not even the 1-2 finish, if they want any hope of making sure they take the speed mode here.
Yeah, Navi with a little bit of collision there, not too problematic, but as you said, I mean, it's going to be all about getting position 1 and ideally position 2 as Sungbin, you see him now in 8th place. He's just been trying his darndest this entire time to control the back rank here for Team Aura, and now Nog, it's all on him to try to supplant here.
Yeah,
World in 1st place.
Yeah, Seas has to get up to 4th. That's a necessity, even if Nok is able to get to 1st, because otherwise it would have been a 2-3-4 for KWANGDONGFREECS. Now Nok has logged into 1st. He's trying to make sure he blocks off World. He's keeping in the lead, but World cuts in right here on the 90 degrees. He actually bumps into the wall just a bit, gives Nok a chance.
Only 500 meters left to go. Let's see if World can hold on to this lead. Just it's barely ahead of Nok right now, but it's 20-19, you're right.
The 2-3-4, no, not one, but there's the 2-3-5-7. Hero stays at 7th place, ahead of KWANGDONGFREECS.
Unbelievable. Aura defeats KWANGDONGFREECS, the Speed Kings here in the KDL, getting their first loss in speed mode. And now it's up to the Freaks to win an item mode to force an ace match against Aura.
I cannot believe it. 6 matches, 6 speed mode wins for KWANGDONGFREECS. They beat SANDBOX 3-0 on speed mode, right? I mean, Roxy go 3-2. They've beaten everybody so handily, and now against Aura, they take their first speed mode loss.
Just unbelievable stuff here. Aura with a tremendous upset in speed mode, and it must be such a confidence booster heading into item mode now. Aura just seems absolutely locked in today, and if you're the Freaks, I mean, you might be getting inside your own head a little bit right now. You just had your first loss against one of the teams that is not known for their team speed prowess. Is Aura, you know, with leveraging that 5-man roster, going to be swapping in their item ace tech for Navi. This is a scary situation here for the Freaks. Are you going to be able to beat your former teammates from KartRider League, your former item ace specialists here in KDL?
Yeah, Tech coming in, and then alongside Nok. I mean, that's a double team effort here for Aura, and it just goes to show you can't judge them just based on the team banner, right? Of course, not currently under a pro banner, but again, these players, they've done their fair share of work throughout their careers and are proving that individually they have a spot here at the top of the KDL. Taking a look at the track list, Aura, of course, now having the first pick. They'll take Half Pipe first, and then we go to Mushroom Caves, Pharaoh's Pass, Magma Cavern, and if it comes down to round 5, will be Icebreaker Pass.
Yeah, and man, it just is insane to me that the Freaks, not only did they lose speed mode, but they prioritize speed mode. So now moving into item mode, this is something where Aura has 3 out of 5 map picks, and you might think, okay, well, that's not too important. Well, think back to Liiv SANDBOX setting up with that water balloon, you know, in the first match. That was their map pick. That's something that I am sure they have practiced. It's right before the finish line. It's a critical moment. They're able to deliver it. Who knows what tricks Aura has up their sleeve. If they can win this one, they will be able to give the KWANGDONGFREECS their first defeat here in the KDL preseason. Let's get to it as we move to Glacier Polar Halfpipe.
Aura on the verge of perhaps the biggest upset so far in KDL, trying to leave their mark as they give KWANGDONGFREECS their first loss and deny the potential perfect sweep here in the round robin stage.
And on top of that, solidify that 3rd place position there. We were coming into today thinking that, you know, ROX Esports right now, they're probably going to at least finish today in third heading into the postseason, because there's no way that Aura's going to be able to beat the Freaks. The Freaks are just on another level right now. But Aura coming through with a tremendous upset in speed mode, and now in item mode, I would almost say Aura might be favored. I mean, they have the item ace, they have a fantastic record throughout the entire KDL preseason. I think something like a 75% win rate in rounds in item mode. And I mean, if you're a Freaks fan at home, you got to be worried about this development.
Yeah, I mean, again, obviously they're still in first place for the postseason, but here's the thing. KWANGDONGFREECS also as a team, they've never actually lifted the trophy. They came in second place 3 times in a row in 2022. And so, I mean, this already kind of spells trouble again, maybe a little bit of paranoia about, are we just never destined to really safely get first place, you know, win that trophy in any tournament in Kart Rider?
It could be the kind of thing that kills your confidence to take an L here against Aura heading into Liiv SANDBOX, who, you know, at one point they did defeat Liiv SANDBOX earlier in the KDL, but keep in mind, that's when Seungha was injured.
Yes.
So now you might get in your head, it's like, well, did we even really beat Liiv SANDBOX? You know, like,
oh no.
Maybe you start second guessing yourself a little bit. And of course, KWANGDONGFREECS, they have a fantastic coaching staff, so they're gonna be trying to quell all that concern, all that paranoia, all that self-doubt as they get ready to go into the postseason. But for now, the Freaks right here in item mode against Aura are going to try and keep the perfect dream alive. But Aura in a fantastic spot. Sees right now in first place, holding on to both a Magnet and a Nitrous. Take doesn't have exactly the item set that he wants, just with the Angel Shield, but
yeah, Texas trying to draw aggro, but meanwhile, Seas is the final one who's trying to finish first. He gets the boost right on the curve as well. And what a sweet finish here from Aura. I mean, that just played out exactly how they pictured it here in track 1.
Yeah, just one of the cleaner finishes that we've had in item mode so far. I mean, Liiv SANDBOX, up until they lost to ROX Esports, was the best item mode team in the KDL, but now it's Aura. Aura has the highest win rate, almost 80% overall, and oh man, I would love to hear the comms for the KWANGDONGFREECS right now. Is
very curious, right? I mean, this was never your strength. The item mode was never your strength, so curious to see if they have some form of recovery here as we go into the second track. Now that is their pick, obviously they would want nothing more than to get that win, try to chain it into, eventually lead to an ace match.
Yeah, they would love to do that. Keep in mind also that KWANGDONGFREECS is a 4-man roster, does not have that item ace to swap in, as a lot of other teams do, Aura especially swapping in an item specialist. So pressure is on here for the Freaks. 2 tracks away from avoiding perfection. They would love to start a comeback here in item mode and force an 8th match against Aura. Let's go to Forest Mushroom Caves. Track number 2 here in item mode. Aura up 1-0 already. And Chobra, man, I'm liking what we're seeing from Aura today. I feel like they might be some serious competition in the postseason.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're proving again just that their individual careers weren't for naught, right? And now that they're finally coming together as a team, you know, across the past couple weeks, they're starting to really prove their full potential, maybe even more. Of course, barricades coming in, Sungbin just gonna happily block into that, get it out of the way, make sure he can recycle his items. Now, this is just 2 laps and a relatively straightforward one. However, yeah, exactly, like these bridges, they are tight, so the water bombs will do some damage. You'll definitely want some shields or angels here for the second lap.
Yeah, this is one of those tracks where there's a little bit more room for aggression than some of these wider tracks that we have in item mode. And no, Aura, with their skill in item, we'll see if they're able to leverage that to their advantage. You know, World right now up there with Seas.
Yeah, finally catching up with his own boost and a lightning bolt as well. So Seas, he'll be able to happily catch back up. But great, again, these water bombs, they hit wherever you are unless you're shielded, because most of this track is just wide enough for one single water bomb.
Yeah, you would have to hug that wall so tight to actually avoid it, and it's something that you can't really preempt that reliably, right? You don't want to be hitting that wall or close to hitting that wall the entire way through each lap. The Freaks right now, looks like Sungbin and World are their 2 players who are closest to the pole position, holding onto a lot of nitrous. I'm trying to see exactly how this is going to shake up here for Aura. It seems like
Good
they have a lot of
Angel.
magnets.
Yeah, Angel coming in for KWANGDONGFREECS. They have another one as well, and boost all the way up the front, so they don't have any magnets. They're relying purely on the boost, but here's the thing. Not enough magnets close enough here towards the end. Sungbin actually dodges it, but the UFO comes in. Hero, no item. He only gets a shield. He gets magneted back by Tech. He's trying to launch forward. The barricades, it gets Angel, but Sungbin just out in front. Eventually able to land in first place.
Yeah, man, a sigh of relief here for the KWANGDONGFREECS as Sungbin coming in on the right side, able to get that first place, avoiding the barricade, as there were a lot of tacks there, and there's final moments there for the Freaks to avoid. Able to deliver a win here in item mode as the best of 5 turns into a best of 3. And that was a little bit of a scary position there for the Freaks. They didn't have a lot of magnets in the bag. It was mostly just the nitrous, as you pointed out, that they really were going to be relying on heading into the end of that lap, but able to make it work.
Yeah, I mean, again, they had a pretty hefty lead, and I think one of the biggest things was just dodging that water bomb right at the end. Maybe a bit preemptive by Aura, right? There was that one last bridge that you could try to use it on, but I think trying to find a timing against potential shields and Angels, so that's a bit of a 50-50 mind game. Just a little awareness about the camera, and now we have some fans just praying for Sungbin to try to secure this victory here. See if it comes true.
Yeah, Freaks fans, they're stressed right now. They want their team to continue this perfect run with a victory and force an ace match. Let's see if they can do it here. Desert Pharaoh's Pass.
Tied 1-1, Aura versus KWANGDONGFREECS. Of course, Aura did win the speed mode, so they can get the lead here. They would be going to match point against the #1 team here in the KDL Preseason 1.
It still feels so crazy to hear you say that Aura won the speed mode here against the KWANGDONGFREECS. Something that hasn't been said yet this entire KDL preseason, as the Freaks been undefeated thus far, but up against the ropes right now. Only 2 tracks away from perhaps, you've secured first place, but you really want to finish with that perfect record, especially here against your former teammates, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what's even crazier now that I've thought about it a little bit longer, State, is the fact that they've now lost their first speed mode. That means they lost as many speed mode tracks today as they did the entire preseason so far, right?
Yeah.
3 until now, and then 3 tracks today. So KWANGDONGFREECS not too happy right now, and then now trying to claw back in item mode, which was never their strongest suit here.
No, they've always been capable in item mode. It wasn't like ROX Esports up until last weekend, who just struggled almost the entire preseason to try to get a grasp on that specific mode. But they've been kind of middling, whereas Aura, as it stands right now, is the team with the best record in item mode in the KDL preseason. And, 2 tracks away from one of the biggest upsets, at least I've seen here in the KDL, or at least it would be if Aura was able to deliver a win, is coming here into the final lap. Now, looking at the items, World right now holding on to 2 boost is the pole position player here for the KWANGDONGFREECS. Sungbin holding on to double Angel Shield, so he'll mostly be playing support. Spear with a Magnet and Nitrous. A lot of options, a lot of defense here for the Freaks.
Yeah, I mean, Freaks, they definitely had a couple ways they could play this, right? Like you mentioned, just going for the pull from World as everyone else just latches onto him with the magnets. But meanwhile, you have to consider, what does my enemy have as we go through the final jump? World actually being slowed down by the UFO that allows Aura to get ahead without much opposition.
Take still holding onto a magnet. It's going to pop that right now, but it's too late as the Freaks actually able to come through and deliver yet another win in what feels like a role reversal. I mean, an ace match was always in the cards here between these 2 teams, but I always thought in my head that it would be, if we got to it, it would be, the Freaks winning in speed mode and then Aura winning in item mode. And now the Freaks, if they win one more track and item, they will be able to force that ace match.
Yes, but which
in
is
a
crazy.
very weird way.
Yeah, the fact that the Freaks are forcing the ace match is a little bit weird to say, but they do get that precious win here on Pharaoh's Pass. A nice finish right at the end by Spear and World. I mean, just one of them has to enter. They both take the first and second place position, guaranteeing that at least one of them will bring the win home for the Freaks. And now on set point, trying to tie things up against Aura here in item mode.
Yeah, Freaks would love to force that ace match. They want to keep this perfect dream alive as With the animation, that's actually so cute.
Yeah, actually,
It's like,
that
no, that banana is not going to touch me.
Yeah, here's that last moment here. A nice boost saved up by Spear and then the Angel as well. That single-handedly, the thing is, he was completely out of the radar, right? He was still in 3rd or 4th place. They were perhaps maybe concerned about potential magnets coming out, but Spear just boosts and kind of weaves his way around his opponents to the finish line.
Yeah, the Freaks just had a wide array of possibilities there at the end, a lot of options with their item set. They were able to deliver a win with that now match point. One more win, they can force an ace match. Will they do it here on Mine Magma Cavern? KWANGDONGFREECS just one track win away from forcing that ace match and keeping their perfect dream alive here in the KDL preseason, trying to go 7-0, undefeated into the postseason. I mean, Aura heading into this match said, you know, put that dream away. It's not gonna happen, and so far they've showed up.
They've definitely been living up to that trash talk here prior to the match start. Now Hero just running away with it, has double shields, just gonna keep that lead for the time being. The water bomb's actually doing a lot to widen the gap. Of course, still 2 extra laps, so Hero not gonna be holding on to that for too long, but I am curious, will he cycle through these shields, or is he just gonna hold on to that and set himself up for a pole position here? That means they would have to start saving up their magnets here on the 2nd lap.
Actually holding onto his shield, so not cycling any with that first little pack right there of items. Now slowing down, actually gets a banana, so also not really what you want here for Aura, but no, only lap number 2, a lot of track left to be played here. A lot of opportunities to get more items.
Yeah, Hero just picks up an Angel. He'll cycle through one of the shields, brings up a missile as well. Now, most likely he's been more or less set up to kind of play the support position, but here's the thing, I mean, that lightning bolt comes in so clutch. KWANGDONGFREECS, not only do they have the items like the EMP and the Angel, they also have boosts as well. They could do another type of finish where one of them just kind of weaves through right at the end.
Yeah, it feels like they are setting up for something like that. They have 3 players in the top 4 positions, which means that there might be too many targets for Aura to comfortably handle. Now, we do have a water balloon coming out. That's just not trying to cycle through these items. He wants to get something a little bit better here as the lead racer for Aura, but so far it's nothing but attack. So Aura not really getting the item set that they want. Knock, just nothing but bananas, man. This hurts.
3rd place, that is rough. Knock, can he get something? There is a magnet now. He's gonna use it right on World, right towards the last one. And the UFO actually comes in clutch as well. World slowed down. Tech now trying to block him off, but World's just able to barely, no!
Oh, Tech just comes from behind right there at the end. And we're gonna be going to a track number 5 here in item mode, as we both thought World might be able to run away with it there, but Tech with just a little bit too much momentum. And a nice rebound there from Aura. You know, it felt like the way the items were going there in lap number 3, they didn't really have the setup that they wanted, but still able to deliver a win. And
that UFO right at the end, I mean, super clutch timing. Seeing some great UFO finishes today, actually, in both of our first 2 matches. Of course, we do have another team match after this one, so we're not even close to the finish line for today's broadcast. But right now, it's a do-or-die situation to see if they go to an ace match or if Aura will wrap things up in a nice upset against KWANGDONGFREECS, securing Aura themselves a 3rd place seed, the upper seed in the lower bracket final.
Yeah, it feels like this upcoming map might be, you know, the apex of today, with Aura on the verge of completing one of the biggest upsets here, and, you know, take a big reason why this was able to happen with that UFO just coming through so clutch there right at the end. Able to get that win and force a track number 5 here in item mode. This is Aura's map pick.
This is Tech's Aunt here to cheer him on, so see if they can go. They had originally said let's go to an ace match, but they might not even need it. I mean, they might be able to win 2-0. Let's find out as we go to the final track. It's Glacier Icebreaker Pass. They're off on track 5 of item mode. Aura leading speed mode already. Can they make it a 2-0 upset, or will we see one more ace match here between these 2 teams to decide what the seeding will be for Aura here in the postseason?
It would be such an underdog story for Aura to win this one, secure that 3rd place spot heading into the postseason, and, you know, put KWANGDONGFREECS' dream of going perfect here in the KDL to rest. The Freaks just a couple of tracks away, just 2 tracks away from being perfect. But I mean, the pressure is on, and this is pressure that they really haven't faced this entire preseason. This is by far the highest octane moment. I mean, this is them testing their nerves here in track number 5.
Yeah, we'll see KWANGDONGFREECS. Can they pull themselves together? Now, this one of the more basic tracks in item mode, of course, so water bomb's not going to do as much damage, neither will the barricades. So really, this time it does come back to the kind of meta build of the magnets to boost potential UFOs, as we've seen in the past couple tracks. So curious to see, as we enter track 3, do any players keep together? As we see, Cool's constantly been looking backwards for these missiles just to widen the gap a bit more.
Yeah, Cool just trying to gather a little bit of intel there for his teammates Sungbin and World, as KWANGDONGFREECS want to save those Angel shields for when they need them the most. And now heading into soon lap number 3, we'll try to see exactly how these item inventories are going to stack up. And for the Freaks, it looks pretty good already. Sungbin with a nitrous and a magnet is something he will almost definitely not be cycling out. Right behind him, World holding on to double nitrous is another good set of items, actually opting to try and get a magnet if he can.
Yeah, I was about to say, I wonder if that UFO gets saved, but it's going to be used right away. They're aware that perhaps everyone kind of has the final items they want in the boost and the magnets, so just making sure that they're always in contention with Tech trying to catch up to Spear here.
Yep, Hero holding on to 2 Angel shields might be important, as we're only 500 meters away right now. Aura with an early lead, but the magnets are going to be coming in.
They're in the tunnel. They can't get past the barricades. It's not going to work. The Angel brings home victory as Aura wins 2-0.
Unbelievable here at the KDL. The Freaks only 1 win away from going perfect in 7-0, but Aura, manned and led by 3 of their former teammates, are going to come through with a 2-0 victory here, living up to what they said in the pre-match interview, that they're going to put the Freaks' dreams of a perfect KDL preseason to rest. The Freaks now 6-1, of course, still in first place, but that's painful if you're a Freaks fan, and perhaps an ominous sign heading into the postseason is, I mean, the Freaks, they've got to be questioning themselves, and it is definitely Aura time.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, a great race today in both speed and item mode from Aura. And again, I mean, even in that last track, we see the setup, right? They had everything already lined up, constantly cycling through, had the Angel coming in from 8th place just for support. Make sure that nothing can stop them. They understand that on that track, the last section is just a tunnel, right? If you can get in before that, if you get magnet before that, you're able to body block practically anyone as long as they don't kind of jump above you in some way. And then they just shield for any potential attacks. The barricades all get broken. A great understanding of the tracks and the items available to them. And that is a speed and item mode win for Aura. KWANGDONGFREECS no longer a perfect scoreline in matches. Still first place, but you recalled it again, State. Can they eventually lift the trophy? They have yet to do so.
I don't know, man. They might be doubting themselves now heading into the postseason. This was their last match of the KDL preseason, so the pressure, it's only going to ramp up from here. They're still in first place, you know, no matter what here. They just wanted to go perfect, but, you know, you head into that first and second place match against Liiv SANDBOX, you know, the first match of the postseason. That's a scary opponent now with Seungha back, especially hot on the heels of a loss here to Aura. I mean, that's...
Yeah, it's great that you mentioned that. Yeah, the rematch against SANDBOX is going to be that upper bracket final, but now with Seungha back in the mix, playing in that speed mode. Jimin, of course, returning to his item ace position for Liiv SANDBOX. So curious to see how that'll shake up. Curious to see kind of what's going through KWANGDONGFREECS' mind, right? Even if it's the preseason, I mean, you would have loved to kind of set a nice little point of your career for your team, for you as racers individually, to say, you know, I know it was preseason, but we kind of left a mark in our history of KDL. We were kind of the first team, right, to really pick up the trophy. We kicked off KDL. Now that doesn't look as easy as it was going to be.
Absolutely not. I mean, the Freaks have shown that they are mortal. They do bleed. Aura did make them bleed. And not only speed mode, but I mean, also item mode.
Both,
I mean, just winning in both of those. We thought that, you know, if there is a win condition here for Aura today, it's going to be most likely winning an item mode and forcing an ace match.
Yes.
They didn't even need an ace match. I mean, one of the Aura, I can't remember whose aunt it was, but
Tech,
Tech's aunt is here in the stadium.
She had to fix her sign,
she
right?
She brought a sign. This is his aunt. You know, she's his #1 supporter. She's here live in person. Final match of the preseason before we head to the postseason here.
Yeah.
and she had her little cheerful prepared, and it's like, let's get to an ace match.
And then she crosses out. She's like, no, let's just win.
It went even better than that. I mean, if you're like #1 fan right there is in the audience, like, okay, let's get the ace match. Let's, come through in the clutch right there against the Freaks, but you actually went in speed mode. I mean, it's just an insane upset and some uncharacteristic missteps from the Kwangdong Freaks overall today.
Yeah, I mean, I can't help but think back to, track 3 on speed mode, right? The winding slopes, one of your players bumps into the wall in the shortcut and then eventually kind of leads to a chain reaction. Then you're all frantically trying to change your builds to catch up. You keep making mistakes. But let's also mention, I mean, both speed and item mode end up going to track 5, right? 3-2, 3-2 scoreline. So that, again, goes to show what a tough opponent Freaks are, right? Just to make them bleed, it took you 10 tracks to do so.
Yeah, 10 tracks in total is, the Freaks, they put up a good fight there at the end. They really wanted to go perfect, but Aura just denying it, man. I love that they lived up to what they said before the match even started, because, we saw that and we laughed a little bit, but, man, they meant it.
Well,
they really meant it.
And now I'm curious with what they showed in speed mode today. Now they take that 3rd seed against ROX in that lower bracket final in the postseason. So they'll have priority choice. If they brush up, choose speed priority, pick 3 tracks on speed, I mean, if ROX doesn't win speed mode, they definitely don't look that strong, right? Aura might be able to knock out the ace killer Jong before even getting to an ace match.
Yeah, if they can deliver a 2-0 there, that's going to be probably their best path to success, because I think any match against ROX in the postseason, I mean, anything can happen in the postseason, of course, but Jong just being undefeated so far in ace matches, 5-0, you have to think that Aura, their game plan is going to be to avoid that. So yeah, now with the 3rd seed, maybe they do pick speed mode as their priority. They know they're the better item mode team.
Exactly.
ROX was able to beat Liiv SANDBOX over the weekend in item mode, which was another insane upset. But
I mean, that was an anomaly, though, right?
It feels like it has to be, right?
And the thing is, in their matchup in the round robin, Aura did go 6-0 in tracks, right? They do a 3-0 sweep in both speed and item mode. Of course, both teams have clearly been improving, and we've seen players even try changing their cart builds as the preseason has been going on. So maybe we get even some more tech as we go into the postseason here. But man, I think both the lower bracket and upper bracket final right now, the lower bracket being Aura versus ROX, and then the upper bracket being SANDBOX, Liiv SANDBOX going up against Kwangdong Freaks. It's a toss-up for both sides.
It does feel that way. I mean, Kwangdong Freaks coming into today, I was thinking, yeah, they're definitely the favorites heading up against Liiv SANDBOX, or really anybody who gets in 2nd place.
Yeah.
But they do bleed. I mean, Liiv SANDBOX, especially with how good that they are in item mode, even if they don't win in speed, they have a good chance of forcing an ace match. And you have a lot of players on that team, including the global player Neil, who has an opportunity to prove himself in a 1v1, which is kind of his forte,
Yeah. And then, you still have Insu, Hyunsu, maybe even some, depending on the track, if you want to try to kind of trade things back and forth, depending on whose condition is better that day. So, I mean, again, good chance that both of those in the postseason will go to the ace matches. Of course, just for format explaining, since we have a little bit of time, the lower bracket final, if you lose from there, you're out. So Aura going up against ROX, they both have just 1 life to be able to try to continue here up to the grand finals. Meanwhile, Liiv SANDBOX and Kwangdong Freaks, even if they lose, they will have 1 more chance to play the winner of the other match to try to get back into the grand final. So, there's a little bit of margin here for the top 2 seeds.
Yeah, there's a considerable amount of margin. I mean, you have that extra life. It's almost like a double elimination tournament for you if you're top 2 seeds. It's a good spot to be in. And guys, when we get back, we're going to go to a short break. When we get back, our final team match of the day, don't go anywhere.
바나나.
어이구.
우리 너무 말을 안 해서 부스터 분량이 안 나오네.
진짜?
누가 그래? 아니 거기 댓글에 써있었어. 아 진짜.
나오지 말자 그러면 그냥.
할 말이 없긴 해.
그래 조용한 게 좋은겨.
말 좀.
안녕하세요. 들려요?
미안해 하지마.
와 태양이다.
맞아. 난 태양.
근데 뭔가 어색하진 않네. 그치?
응.
그래도 나름 이틀이지만 준비는 했어가지고.
간다.
파이팅. 안녕하지.
가자.
파이팅.
지민의 부당함을 좀 더 덜어주기 위해서는 각각의 선수들이 평소보다 조금 더 올라와 주긴 해야 돼요. 그래야 지민 선수도 평소 기량 제대로 보여줄.
8등 멀어.
보고 와줘, 보고 와줘.
앞에서 차.
나 보고 있어.
8등 멀다.
알았어.
나
나 오른쪽.
뒤에 볼게 이거.
나 잡았어.
아.
4등이야.
앞에서 차.
오케이.
지금은 1 안 해도 돼.
나 89.
하나 이거야?
채워줄게.
쌤 2, 3, 4.
가봐. 됐어. 우리 7, 8 작업이다 현재.
막았어.
나이스.
막았어.
나이스. 나 잡음.
나 3등이야.
뒤에 멀어.
찼어 지금.
파이팅 작업. 작업이야. 뒤로.
빨리 그렇지. 오돌. 그러면 누구?
야,
나이스. 야 지렸다 타가라.
뭐야 이거? 뭐야?
나 믿고 있었다.
이 아이템들 정말 파이팅이 좀 나와야 되는 리브 샌드박스가 됐습니다.
인파 있어.
아, 챙겼어. 나 챙겼어요.
먹었다.
쌍대 먹었어.
아, 먹었다.
땀물 지금 돼요?
버려.
버렸어. 죽였어. 1등 미사일.
나이스. 한 번 더. 대기. 뛰었어.
쌤 없다.
일 내가 할게.
나 내려.
인생 맞지 마봐. 때릴 때 째봐. 내가 볼게.
지민이가 콜해줘. 나 왼쪽으로 째거만.
나 투부야. 상대 빨리 맞춰도 돼.
째봐.
됐어. 성빈이 빨리고 한 번.
상대 빨리 맞춰도 돼.
이제 빨리 말.
컷.
나 빨리
빨리 말.
갈게.
지민이로 지민.
나이스. 판단 나이스.
나이스.
나이스 뭐야?
어떻게 했어?
까비. 제가 걸.
까비.
벌써 벌었다 나.
일단 볼까요? 광선 꼬불꼬불 다운힐.
너 아니면 나. 나 똑같아. 1대1 끝. 근데 유 컨디션 더 좋아? 너 컨디션 어때? 안 되면 나. 되면 나. 괜찮아. 근데 나 고정하고 있어. If I lose, it's okay. Okay. I go. I go. 인자, 보고 싶으면 저기 커도 돼. 근데 여기 거지 마.
안보 자신 있는 사람. 약간 뒤돌아봐.
이게 지금 애결까지 왔기 때문에 1승이 너무 중요해졌어요.
쫓아가고 있어요.
얼굴도 많이 침착해졌네요. 이게 약간 불안한 타이밍에 뉴코킹으로 라인 다시 잡아주면서 눈치 보고 있습니다.
뒤에서 계속해서 압박을 주고 있습니다. 닐도
강했어요 월드 이번 거.
자 월드 먼저 써야지만 닐 아직까지 완전히 멀어지진 않았거든요. 500m.
멀어져요. 더 들어가야 됩니다. 과감하게 가야 돼요.
자 월드 대 닐. 월드 들어갑니다. 그대로 들어옵니다.
나 이제 눈이 잘 안 보인다. 눈이 너무 많이 나빠졌네.
안경 써. 쓸모없는데.
안경 쓰면 안 돼.
렌즈 안경 정도.
원래 그 정도로 아프진 않은데 왼쪽 눈이 잘 안 보이네 요새. 설명을 다 했나?
안 돼.
에이.
네? 셋!
셋.
와 미쳤다. 와. 하나, 둘, 셋!
그러니까 피날레는 그냥 상대의 이름값에 주눅들지만 않으면 돼요. 그럼 충분히 해볼 만하거든요.
일단 버티기만 하자 우리. 사영이 형 붙을 수 있어? 나 못 붙을 수도 있어. 오케이. 우리
정환이 형 살아야 돼.
나이스.
78 보고
빨려, 나
이겼어.
빨려, 나 빨려.
78 보고 2등. 하지프 막아줘.
막았어.
나이스.
들어막으면 아직 거리가 아직
유리 안 되네요 이렇게.
와!
아니 근데 왜 죽었는데 이렇게 돼?
아니 그 커버 치다가 과감하게 커버 치라 해서 내절했다.
잘했어.
까비요.
잘 뚫었다 그래도.
나 맞을게 안 돼.
맞지 말래 봐봐 이제. 언제 해?
2파 줬어.
나 빨렸어.
들렸다 2등.
나 돌아갈게. 태지 챙겨버려. 버릴게.
버려. 천.
1등 뭘 했어? 물 잡았어.
나 2개야 맞지 마.
천.
나 간다.
나 그냥 따로
너네끼리
챙길게.
해야 돼 이거.
거리 안 돼. 짜거리 나온다.
그냥 다 빨고 간다. 난 앞에 물 칠게.
나 먼저 써.
챙겨.
상천.
먹으면 대기. 2등 뒤에서도 뒤에. 죽어야 돼.
가봐.
형.
하나 줘. 물 잡았어 가봐. 나 1등 물 칠게.
천.
빨리 날아요. 뒤에 저예요.
나 뒤에 빨려서 알 쳤어.
바나나
나랑 병수잖아 또. 야 네가 한번 나가라.
네?
나가도 돼. 아 이기면 베스트 줘도 되니까 편하게 하라고.
이거 X거든? X 트림이. 일단 나는 내가 나간다 고 했는데.
한번 해볼래? 너가 안 나갔으면 될것 같아. 너가 나가.
근데 내가 하는 게 나을 것 같아. 나 X
부스터를 홀로 모아서 가거든요. 이런 식으로 들어가면 안 돼요.
자, 그러다 보니까 살짝 꼬이긴 했는데 충분히 따라갈 수 있지 않을까?
다시 한번 붙여줬어요.
부스터가 약간 부족한 상황이었지만 드래프트를 받는 타이밍이었기
빌드가!
때문에 빌드 회복이 됐어요. 어차피 이후에 감속
스트라이커가 왔어요. 안정환이 왔어요.
정직하게 한가운데로 차가우면 됩니다.
이렇게 골! 에이스 결전전 트랙은 광산 아슬아슬 궤도 전체가 나왔네요 또.
야또 개돌아는데? 성민 한번
성민아
나갈래?
후회 없이 너 해. 나 한번 해볼까?
보여줘?
해볼까?
보여줘.
어차피 쫄리는 건 상대야.
그래.
애걸까지 왔어. 나 한 번 져가지고 궤도에서.
한번 해볼게.
연이 하고 싶어? 내가 할까? 컨디션 어떤데? 나는 오늘 나쁘지 않아. 너 갈래? 내가 좀 자신이 없고 내가 만약에 뭐 하더라고 가위바위보 어떻게 넌 자신 없으면 내가 할게. 그럼 내가 할게. 재밌게하고 하지. 나 저도 뭐라 그러지 마.
이게 뭐라 할 수는 없어. 그냥 진짜 너 하고 싶은 대로 다 하고.
그러니까 유는 애결 경험이 있다고 보기 어렵잖아요.
자 이제 위협 구간 들어갔을 때 루닝이 거리 감상을 어떻게 유지하느냐 중요합니다. 자 먼저
서로 그냥 눈치 봤어요. 지금까지는.
유지할 느낌들이 있거든요. 자 포지션 드랩 받아요. 드랩 받으면서
성민!
Welcome back, everyone. Will Chill here alongside State as we continue to our last team match in the round robin stage of the KDL Preseason 1. It is Planet going up against ReBoot. Planet will be entering the stage first.
Yeah, Planet versus ReBoot, you know, two teams that are not going to the postseason, both eliminated, trying to end their season here on a high note. You know, something to look forward to in KDL Preseason 2 is how much these guys are going to improve over the coming weeks and months, but you know, very little at stake here in this match, to be frank about it. These players just kind of want to do their absolute best and, you know, lick
Yeah.
their wounds, get ready to come back even stronger next time.
Well, and we got to remember, right, Planet and ReBoot also both not under a pro team banner, both on an amateur banner here. So obviously kind of what they show here could add up eventually to some sort of a, calling or scouting or maybe even sort of support from another organization. I mean, that's things we have to consider. Just after that last match, a lot of the Korean community saying, how much you want to bet, Aura is going to get into a team banner, pro team banner in the next preseason. So lots still to prove here for themselves. Every track counts. It goes down, in the records. It'll go up on YouTube for everyone to continue to look at and check out. But of course, here's ReBoot, led by Kosu, the man who went to military, came back after having to take a break from competing, kind of as a veteran here on the side of ReBoot.
Yeah, 3-time second place finisher in Kart Rider League in Kosu. Also, both these teams rolling 5-man rosters with their own item aces. And both teams, up to now have been struggling largely in speed mode. I mean, it hasn't been particularly good for them in item mode either, but the consecutive losses haven't been great, as Planet's pointing out right now. 4 consecutive losses have piled up. Head-on change of plan. Head-on charge of
Planet.
Charge of Planet
with nothing more to lose.
Charge of Planet with nothing more to lose. That went over my head on that one, but a change of plan is definitely in order here for Team Planet, though.
And just saying, we'll still be the ones to take 5th place. Still a little bit of pride on the line amongst themselves here.
They care about those record books.
Hey, it's a battle of the mid here, but it's an important one for the racers themselves.
Oh, it's so good.
But, I mean, for me on Planet, I wonder if they do go to another ace match. Acid Fly, he's entered all the ace matches for them and still hasn't gotten a win, right? I think that would be something that he would want to prove for himself if they do get there. And now here on the side of ReBoot, speed match was the biggest challenge and their last chance to overcome it indeed.
Yeah, ReBoot and Planet both 1-5 in sets in speed mode, and ReBoot in particular, 20% overall win rate in speed is not what you want to see. By far the worst in speed mode for any team so far here in the preseason. But I mean, to their credit, still not in last place, still in 5th. It goes to show how good they've been in item mode, when it comes to it. And at least they're getting their round wins when it really matters, as they say. As it's the last one, we will show you our best. And, really that is what everyone is here to do for this final match. I mean, you can't go to the postseason anymore. There's very little left to play with except pride.
Yeah, again, and there's still preseason 2, right? We're barely at the halfway mark of the year, so still lots to prove for yourself. So let's take a look at the tracks. It's Zigzag, Winding Slopes. Geez, we are starting off tough in this one. Zigzag and Winding Slopes, and then Extreme Stadium, Terracotta Twister, and last, if we get there, will be Village Boom Hill Tunnel.
Anticlimactic Boom Hill Tunnel after 4 relatively tough maps. That should be a fun track list. I'm looking to see which of these teams, is going to improve from the KDL Preseason 1 moving on to the KDL Preseason 2, specifically here in speed mode. So this is something that, it's going to be fascinating to watch both of these teams go head-to-head. They really have not had a lot of success in speed mode overall, kind of like how Finale in match number 1 against Liiv SANDBOX also has been struggling. It does kind of feel like we have the haves and the have-nots here in the KDL Preseason when it does come to some of these specific modes. Well, let's see which of these teams is going to be ending the KDL Preseason on a high note as we get ready to go to track number 1 in speed mode. It is Forest Zigzag Timberland. All right, here we go. Planet versus ReBoot. We are off here in speed mode as Kosu and Looning leading the charge, but Minshik and Acid Fly quickly supplanting them in 1st and 2nd place, as it is a tight race here at the top. Planet getting the better end of the trade, though.
Yeah, now this, again, we always like to mention it when we come to Zigzag. While because of all the zigzags towards the end, there is a chance to overcome, but it's also such a tight track that if you're able to have, more than one player, one racer at the front, you should be able to find a way to hold on to it.
Yeah, I can see Mari trying to do some body blocking right now on Looning and Load, but it will be able to pass him for now. Acid Fly is pulling away from the pack here for Team Planet, which is what they want to see. ReBoot trying to close the distance with the rest of their players, but so far Planet, I like their position. Scarlet and Mari, they're closing the distance right now, and if they come in here to support their lead eraser. It should be a good spot for them. Let's see if they can do it.
Yeah, Load, of course, was kind of trying to make sure he paces his boost gauge as well to try to get into first. Now, if he can hold on to it, he is making it real tough for Acidfly to recover, so he will eventually exit the zigzag on the first lap here in first place. Now, can Load and Ding find a way to hold on, because it's them versus 3 members of Planet as we enter lap 2.
And the team members here for Planet trying to work together to supplant these players at the top of the pack, but Ding and Load, they're just holding on, and the speed ace Acidfly here for Planet is trying to close the distance with the greediest possible lines he can take, but he's just getting zoned out by Load right now, and Ding also doing a great job of body blocking. See Acidfly actually trying to cut him off a little bit, provide some space here for Scarlet, but I mean, it feels like Planet isn't gaining enough ground here. ReBoot is holding on.
Yeah, Acidfly trying to maybe bite off too much more than he could chew, but eventually Scarlet now put in a position to have to fight for first. He is doing just fine, he was rather on his boost gauge, but now he's gonna have to cut just a bit more before they enter the final zigzag, because at that point, the builds should be all relatively similar.
Yeah, and I mean, Load's been doing a great job so far. Scarlet and Mario are gonna have to do excellent job of passing Looting here. They're trying their best to do it, but Looting with the body blocking has just been so clutch. Mari trying to find the inner line, unable to get it thus far. ReBoot, if they hold on to this first place position, it should be an easy win for them.
Yeah.
They just need to secure it. Looting continuing to hold the front.
Yeah, he will try to stay up front, and with Minsik locked in for 8th, ReBoot, as long as they can hold on to the 1-3, they should be fine, and they will be able to finish it with a hefty lead here in track 1.
Yeah, Looting barely able to hold in that first place. Mari did make a good run of it, but Load and Ding rounding out the top 4 there for Team ReBoot will deliver the win, 23-16. As that was a fun match. That was nice and close there.
I mean, listen, a lot of people recognizing, even in the previous match, Aura clearly having done a lot of practice in their speed mode and even item mode to really improve, and I think both these teams maybe just trying to prove that they're also on the upwards trajectory, right? Even if it is a battle just for kind of 5th place between the 2 teams, they want to prove that they do have that higher potential. I love that the players all try to pretend that they're shy.
Yeah. It does feel like these teams do have a lot of potential. I know Wolf has been talking a lot about Acidfly, in particular the speed ace for Planet, and the potential that he has overall here at the KDL. But also you have guys on ReBoot like, Kosu coming back, 3-time 2nd place finisher in the Kart Rider League. Looting as well. Also, I believe he beat Hojin in an ace match, if I'm not mistaken, earlier in the preseason. I mean, these teams are not without talent. And I like what you said earlier heading into this match that, this is kind of also them showcasing their skills in case one of these pro teams potentially wants to bring, 1 or 2 of these players onto their roster later in Kart Rider Drift League.
Yeah, whatever they can get, whether it's individual career boosts or, them being able to really get under a team banner together, just trying to showcase what they have here on the official stage. Well, we're getting ready for track number 2. It's going to be mind-winding slopes between Planet and ReBoot. And we're off. ReBoot leading 1-0. Now, earlier in our second match of the night, we did see quite a few collisions here on Winding Slopes, namely on that kind of shortcut, trying to block each other, eventually greeting it too much, leading into a bit of a team kill there. Hopefully, neither team doing any sort of shenanigans there this time.
No, that felt like a little bit of a blip in the radar of the KWANGDONGFREECS trajectory here. And even for Planet and ReBoot, I don't think we're going to see quite the same cascade of failure, the little domino effect that we saw, although I say that
we're starting!
It's actually in the same spot, too, that we had
wasn't the same
before.
spot. Now here, no one trying to get too greedy there. And in fact, Acidfly and Mari also kind of decreasing to different speeds to make sure they don't bump each other off. Now very well aware that they have to get through the shortcut first and then try to catch up. Acidfly does have a chance, but with the pillars here, he can't be too risky.
Yeah, these pillars are very dangerous, so Acidfly playing it nice and conservatively here. Not a lot of room to pass through these narrow passageways right now for Team Planet. As now coming into turns, they might be able to actually gain some ground, but for now, ReBoot, Kosu, and Ding doing a great job. Mari losing a bit of momentum there. Acidfly going to try and carry the torch and close the distance. 500 meters out, Trober. I think ReBoot's got the easy one, too.
They don't have the boost, right? Ding and Kosu well ahead in their boost meter, and that's just going to be a smooth 1-2 finish here for ReBoot. Now leading 2-0 in speed mode.
ReBoot off to a nice start here against Team Planet on their way to ending the KDL preseason on a high note. Just one track win away from sweeping speed mode here against their opponents. And I'm liking what we're seeing out of ReBoot, man. I mean, they're showing up to play. That last track felt like a very easy 1-2 for Kosu and Ding at the top. That's a new record, in fact, here on Winding Slopes.
Yeah, quite a fast time as well, going down to 117.797 from Kosu. So, in fact, now that this is the last match in the round robin, he'll be setting the record for that track here in the round robin stage of team mode.
Yeah,
the team matches here. Of course, we'll see if that changes in the postseason. But Kosu happy about that one. Just one more, he says, as they try to get a 3-0 sweep here in speed mode.
Let's see if Planet can fight back here. Don't want to go out 3-0 here in speed mode. You know, it's been a point of contention for Team Planet all preseason. As we get a quick recap here, this is actually Minchik.
Oh, he
got
gets
bumped by
bumped a little bit by Acid Fly. That's unfortunate, because if Minchik had been up there as well, that would have been 3 members where they could have tried to pressure Ding to make a mistake, you know.
Here we go, ReBoot one track win away from sweeping speed mode here. Planet fighting for dignity, fighting for pride, trying to keep the fight going here in the KDL preseason as they want to go on a high note. But once again, Kosu off to a great start here in track number 3.
Yeah, and Ding there to support, as he always has been in that previous track as well, even looting on top, and Kosu's so far ahead. Now all looting or Ding has to do is really just make sure that the other players cannot pass them off of a drift, and that way they won't ever be able to catch up to Kosu.
Yeah, ReBoot also was quite far ahead in Team Boost as well coming into these turns. So Planet, there's a large gap between top 2 here for ReBoot and the rest of the players here for Planet. So if you're looting and load right now, you're just gonna be playing defense. You see looting trying to do some body blocking coming into the hairpin turns, and he catches one of the players there for Planet. Taking all the momentum out. Scarlet will be able to pass, but at what cost right now? As Kosu and Ding, it feels like, are running away with this, and we're only on lap number 1.
Yeah, I mean, Scarlet, he does have a shot if he can continue to stay ahead in that boost gauge, but Lode's already caught up. Now Scarlet, not only does he have to try to catch up, to do that, he would have to go for extra cuts just to make sure he's always ahead in boost, but that means he's gonna have to contest against Lode as well. There's just so much on his mind. Meanwhile, Kosu and Ding, they're just trying to set another record here.
Yeah, it feels like there's almost no chance here for Team Planet with Kosu and Ding as far ahead as they are. I mean, Scarlet, he's trying his best to close the distance. A couple more turns coming in, but I mean, Lode is just causing so many problems, and even looting here in the 6th rank.
Oh, it's not looking good, right? I mean, the one shot you would have is to get ahead, try to get an aggressive stop, bump people off on the last jump, something like that. But even Ding is just so far ahead, and now Lode making sure Scarlet has no chance. Salt in the wound.
Yeah, adding insult to injury here. Looting.
Trying to greed just a bit more for an extra highlight there from looting. Not gonna come to fruition, but
yeah, so that's gonna be another 1-2 win here for ReBoot as they're having a bit of fun with it here in speed mode. You can see them all smiles. And it's a much needed win there for ReBoot. It's only their 2nd set win in speed mode throughout the entire KDL preseason. Unfortunately for Planet, they're gonna go down 6-20 in rounds on speed mode throughout the KDL preseason. Not what you want to see. It's going to be a point that they're going to have to try and focus on improving, but ReBoot off to a great start here today, showing a lot of promise.
because of the shenanigans at the end, we actually see 2 races retired as well, which we never see here in team mode, but you love to see it. I mean, the players on the side of ReBoot having fun. But yeah, I mean, they talked about it in their kind of team profile, saying, you know what, we just need to make sure we're continuing to improve on speed mode, and they've proven it. Coming into this match, they had the worst track record overall in terms of rounds taken here in speed mode. In the KDL, Planet just a bit ahead, but now it's going to be ReBoot who takes down Planet in speed mode, and now once again it comes down to the animation Planet lens to try to bring things back.
Linjoie, as they call him sometimes. Play on the word bonjour. Man, I was having fun when I heard that for the first time.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Pure going to be swapped in here for ReBoot as well. The item ace for Team ReBoot as Lode will be swapped out. ReBoot looking to close this one out with a 2-0 here. Just 3 tracks away from adding a nice finish here to their KDL preseason. Nice recovery. you know, you win a nice round here in speed mode, coming out item, potentially win another one. You're gonna go home happy, getting ready for the next preseason.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if they can just secure that 5th place, they can say, all right, if we just continue to improve, we can contest for the postseason in the next one. So we'll see how that goes. We're going to kick things off on a fairly simple track. Icebreaker Pass, of course, just that one tunnel near the end is going to be the real contention point. And then Mushroom Caves, Magma Cavern, Pharaoh's Pass, and if we get there, World Tour London Night.
Yeah, both of these teams overall have been, you know, a little bit better at item mode than speed mode going through the KDL preseason. Planet actually has one of the higher win rates here in item mode, you know, up to this point, I think nearly 60%. So there is potential for an ace match here, especially swapping in, you know, Lens, their item ace.
Yeah,
I'm sure his IGLing is going to be a boon.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to need it a lot. That's a little drawing of Minsick there. I can't really tell you how accurate that was, but we are going to go into item mode. Planet trying to crawl back in here. ReBoot trying to finish a swift victory as we go into Glacier Icebreaker Pass. And we're off. Of course, we just had this track right there at the end of the previous match as well, so fresh on our memories. But just as a reminder, if anyone's joining in right now, one of the biggest things about this track, of course, is that little tunnel at the end. So the Angels may be a bit more crucial because barricades alone could also cause a lot of trouble.
Yeah, Angel Shields power through those barricades, can come through in the clutch as we saw before. His magnets, you know, not as useful as they can be. Body blocking a lot more reliable there. And the narrow passageway up that tunnel as we see Acid Fly boosting a little bit, getting ahead of the pack for now.
Oh, okay, just a nice little try to catch to see if he can dodge any sort of attack there, but eventually we'll just take that water wisp. But of course, 3 tracks, not too big of a concern just yet. Now, a couple magnets being saved up, but again, this is one of those tracks where you can't entirely rely on magnets to swing you around the opponents. That ending is very narrow, right? No upper or lower, no wide section. Yes. So you're gonna have to find a different answer.
Yeah, the timing on magnets has to be a little bit different. You usually want to pop those a bit earlier heading into the end of the track and potentially save a nitrous maybe for that final tunnel. As you know, it's a little bit different than we see in a lot of these item maps, but as it is right now, you know, still you see the value of the magnet even when it is less useful on a map like this, with almost every single player here in the lobby holding onto one. We actually have just Lens and one other player for Team ReBoot just avoiding those magnets for now, opting for support. It's actually Ding, so we'll see what these item lineups look like heading into this. Scarlet will swap out the rocket for a shield.
Yeah, try to see if he could land it. Actually misses the angle just a bit, but eventually he just wanted to cycle through anyway. Now we're getting near towards the end. Dodges the water bomb, slowing down. But here's the thing, neither team having a pure dominance, so they're not going to be able to just crowd the tunnel and eventually block the rest out. Lots of boosts on the board. Looting with a magnet and boost. Ding trying to just stay ahead with double boosts.
Yeah, double boost here for Ding. He pops the first one, picks up another boost right there from the item, but he gets
the
caught.
Water bomb.
All right, Looting right now in front, but oh, he blocks Acid Fly. He blocks Acid Fly, and Kosu comes in on the left side. All smiles as ReBoot takes track number 1 here against Planet in item mode.
But what a great setup, right? The double boost from Ding is he's just really acting as the pull here for Looting as well. Eventually he gets hit by the bomb, but Looting is able to shoot forward. He gets UFO'd, but he's just in position to block as Kosa will be able to coast into the finish line. In fact, that's just going to be a first place finisher for ReBoot, leading 1-0 now in item mode.
Yeah, good win there for ReBoot, man. I'm liking the way they were able to kind of levy responsibility there at the end of the track. Just, you know, coming in with a clutch body block there guarantees that Kosu can come in from the left side with a win. And yeah, fantastic teamwork all around. I mean, they're kind of carrying the momentum from speed mode here into item mode.
Yeah, Ding just trying to slow things down here, try for some extra moves as he's going to get hit by the Wisp. Let's see what we missed this section here. We're focused on the beginning here. Ding's just constantly trying to block people off. I see.
Trying to cause problems.
Yeah,
for a second,
highlight.
For a second, I thought I was like, wait, we're going way too slow. I thought it was lap number 3. I was like, why are we looking at a highlight from lap 2?
Yeah. Oh, that sign was so funny. It's a meme in Korea based on one of the cartoons that's just like, oh, like I'm gonna, leave the world now. All the troubles on this world, and I'm gonna leave this planet. But just cheering on for both teams, saying they're gonna leave the round of 8 now because they're done in the round robin anyway. Saying goodbye to preseason 1 here on their final match here in the round robin stage, cheering for both teams in a sense.
That does take the pressure off both these teams. They would love to end on a high note here with a victory. Let's see if Team ReBoot can keep the momentum as we move on to Forest Mushroom Caves. ReBoot up 1-0 in item mode so far. I think they haven't dropped a track here against Planet. Just complete dominance right out of the gates.
Yeah, we do see just a little bit of mind games right from the start too. Just Scarlet having to buy more time to secure double weapons. Pure been playing with that Chef Boss skin as well. His hat's just so big.
Hell, the item mode is slow enough at the beginning that we could actually talk about this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Because here's the thing, like there is a lot, right? There's a lot of character, not just in the actual characters, but in the cart bodies as well and whatnot in Kart Rider Drift. And it's nice to be able to appreciate that a little bit here in item mode.
Yeah, speed mode usually, I mean, we do have some players rock, the tour bus occasionally, but it is very much minecart just because the hitbox is so small. You're able to take those greedier lines and potentially get griefed less by collisions as you go through. But, here in item mode, it's really all about team communication and item setup as Kozu hits a banana.
Yeah, trying to find that one opening, and that's the one with the banana right there. So not going to find his answer on that one, but Scarlet just staying up front without too much trouble. Does have double Angel. I can't imagine he's going to keep both of those here towards the end. He can start to cycle through those, and, I mean, they have other members as well. There even is a UFO for Lens as well.
Ton of Angels. That UFO does get popped. I think catching Ding, if I'm not mistaken. Or, no, not actually Ding here, but...
Well, Kosu now with an Angel and a shield, so he is scot-free of any attacks. Now Water Bomb's coming in. Everyone's got Angels on their side. Lens does have one more Water Bomb, but it's going to be a tough one to hit. He's actually going to fall way behind.
And Kosu right now, the lead eraser here for ReBoot, picks up a banana. Not really what you want here on the second lap. He's just going to throw that down. Does not connect with any players here for Planet. And now Minchik holding onto the Nitrous and the Angel Shield. Finish line only 500 meters away. Acid Fly also. Nitrous and a Magnet. So good positioning here. He's going to body block. Getting ready to pop that Magnet. Here we go.
Here they all come, but Lens as well with a Nitrous and a Magnet. And Planet setting themselves up to secure victory on their own. Not bothered by any items coming over on the side of ReBoot.
No, ReBoot, it felt like they didn't really have that many useful items there in the bag at the very end. It seems like Planet
very defensive, right?
Yeah, a lot of Angel Shields. Planet just seems like they had the perfect combo. Even if Planet Lens wasn't able to finish in first, Acid Fly would have finished right behind him. As going to tie this one up 1-1. Planet fighting back, finally getting on the board here.
Yeah, just well played here from Planet. But that's the thing, right? These are the things that we have to start considering. Planet, they were the ones initially with one of the players, I believe Scarlet, way up front with double Angels. They start to cycle through those real quick and take the risk of having one opening where they're trying to get a better item for that finish and create a win condition. Meanwhile, ReBoot trying to play it safe, just try to play defensive, have only one person with a Magnet. It was not enough as the extra Nitrous comes in. Play for Planet. We'll see if they can continue it to a streak, maybe take us to another ace match as we go into track 3 of item mode between Planet and ReBoot. It's Mine Magma Cavern. Planet trying to redeem themselves here in item mode, tied 1-1. If they can take it to 3 points, we will be going to that ace match between the two teams.
Yeah, no ace matches yet today, man. Feel a little bit down about that. The matches have been very exciting, but I would love to finish, the main stage here of the KDL Preseason on an ace match, especially between these two teams that up until this point, they haven't had too much really going for them.
Yeah,
build some hype, have some fun.
Exactly, and personally, I mean, nothing against ReBoot, but I just feel for Acid Fly, man. He's been going out on these ace matches. He hasn't been able to get a win. I think just even getting one more chance, he would like nothing more than that.
Absolutely. I mean, to prove yourself as the speed ace on your team, get one more chance, especially here where the pressure's kind of off. You're playing 5th place, but you're out of the postseason, right?
Exactly. Yeah, just have one more chance to say that, I could have won any of those and try to get it against ReBoot here would feel nice.
It would feel nice as Assetfly now in second place here for Planet as we enter lap number 2 here on Magma Cavern. Assetfly gonna boost up a little bit, have a shield to block that water wisp as Kosu gets abducted there by a UFO, but still able to body block Assetfly quite a bit. Nice card control there by Kosu.
Yeah, we're going to see Lens just go through, cycle his items. Meanwhile, Assetfly is keeping that EMP. He's going to try to cycle through for another item, gets an Angel Force Troubles, and Ding just falls right into the lava.
Yep, Ding falls into the lava, but yep. These things happen here in item mode. It's not the deal breaker that it is in speed mode. I'm sure we'll see Ding back in the running any second now here in the middle of the pack is a Planet trying to solidify their position in the front, but looking at the item list right now, a lot of Angel Shield and their lead racers. Assetfly actually holding on to 2. Not what you want here in lap number 3.
Yeah, now Scarlet, he already used 1 magnet. He's trying to catch back up. He's way up here, and now he's in first place. He has another boost and a magnet as well. And Minson with a boost as well. They could try to double team this all the way, get the 1-2 finish, make sure one of them gets in first place.
Yeah, let's see if they do it. Minchik making a run for it right now. Water balloon coming in. Actually, no, it's going to be Scarlet that comes through there.
Oh, pulls one of the members of ReBoot right back as they try to go up that ramp. And it's going to be Planet Scarlet finishing in first place, bringing a second track win here in item mode.
Yeah, Pure and Kosu, they made that one really close, but Scarlet able to come through in the clutch there for Team Planet as they just had the combination of items they needed to propel themselves across that finish line. Nice win there for Team Planet. 1 track win away now from forcing that ace match.
We could see it. We could see it, and it'd be a nice kind of heroic finish for either team, right?
Yeah.
If they can go to an ace match, one of them kind of takes the glory of saying we still got that last win in our last match. Now we can prep for preseason number 2. Of course, neither team in the running no longer. Assetfly on the camera right now, still kind of nervous. I think he's probably thinking ahead, like, even if we do go to ace match, it's probably me. Like, I gotta get this win. Lots of pressure on that guy.
Yeah. I do hope he gets another chance to prove himself, you know. I mean, it does suck to go out twice to try to deliver a win for your team there and, you know, come up short both times. But we'll see if he gets that chance. I mean, we're only 1 track away.
Yeah, it's very much doable. Of course, the next one we'll be going over to the desert theme here. And now just a fan from ReBoot cheering for Looning. We'll see if that can make a difference here as we go to track number 4 in item mode. It's Desert Pharaoh's Pass.
Match point here in item mode. Planet up 2-1 over ReBoot, looking to win that last track to force the ace match and potentially finish their KDL preseason run with 1 more win.
Yeah, we can tell early on, nobody got items they really wanted. Everyone just cycling through as fast as possible. As you see all the bombs and all the wisps come out. But now, of course, we've seen Pharaoh's Pass quite a few times today, both in speed and item mode, so fresh on our minds. And, you know, water bombs can do a decent amount of damage, but of course, it really comes down to these 2 jumps near the end. I mean, you can really cause chaos with the magnets, try to slow someone down where they drop down. They can't really make the entire jump over.
Yeah, UFOs as well, so we'll have to keep tabs on exactly what attacks are going to be coming through in lap number 3 if teams get in position for that. As you know, here on lap number 2, there is a lot of track left to be played. You can see that no one really has the item set up that they want exactly. Assetfly actually the only racer right now holding on to a magnet. So we have a ton of rockets on the board.
Yeah, they're just going to be fired off. Of course, Angels being used against the Lightning Bolt, but that means there's plenty of openings for the rest of the attacking items. Now, ReBoot's actually doing quite a good job of making sure that they have a nice lead, and then they have magnets and a nitrous on Kosu as well, so they can always set up for a double team if they want.
Yeah, it looks like they might be gunning for that here as we're getting ready to finish lap number 2. And Lens, Minchik, and Assetfly, though, all here in the top 3 positions. Assetfly also holding on to a nitrous and a magnet. Could be another one of those players to watch out for who might be going for that deadly combination. Actually, Ding getting denied items there by Lens.
Yeah, so Lens, he just gets a banana, but he does get to keep 1 shield, so he's going to be able to try to vie for a spot. Now, Pure, Angel, and Nitrous in hand. Assetfly, he's the one with the Nitrous and the Magnet, so he's going to lead way for Lens or an opponent where he can latch on, try to overtake them near the end.
Assetfly definitely in a good position, but a lot of players actually right now holding on to both Magnets and Nitrous, and I think we have 4 or 5 players as it's going to come down.
It's
to
going to be
these
a
last
mess
couple
here.
of jumps.
Yeah, Kosu trying to make sure he blocks off, takes aggro for his teammates, and Scarlet actually getting dragged all the way back. Same with Minsik, and Kosu eventually making way for Ding. Not affected by anything, just cruising through at the end.
No, man, I felt like all those magnets popped, and Team Planet, they just lost all momentum.
Yeah.
Those magnets just sucked it up, and ReBoot, I mean, it's all about who crosses the finish line first, but ReBoot actually delivering a 1-2-3 finish here in item mode just goes to show, how well that lineup was working for them there at the end of track number 4. Is we're going to go to a track 5 tied 2-2 coming up here in a minute.
Oh boy, I mean, ReBoot, they really want to close things out, right? Just get a nice clean victory. They wanted to improve on their speed mode. They proved that earlier by taking a 3-0 sweep against Planet. Now, if they can close out the item mode, I think they'll have they'll end on a higher note, right? Even though they don't go to the postseason.
Higher note.
Yeah. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. Meanwhile, Planet, I mean, they just want one more chance. Kosu says no, though. He's listening to me. He says no.
No ace match, says Kosu, as they want to win it right here, right now in item mode. Let's see if they can do it as we move on to World Tour London Night.
And we're off set point here. Of course, match point for ReBoot. See if they can close things out in item mode or if we will go to an ace match. Planet just trying to fight for another shot. London Night, one of those maps with actual map track obstacles in those buses. So we will have to watch out. We have seen players get carried away by them, so
yeah,
there's something you have to watch out for.
It has happened, and even in item mode, that can be a problem. And there also are some shortcuts here that might play into effect a bit coming down the stretch here with Magnets and Nitrous.
Yeah, both right there on the bridge, and of course here on the Ferris wheel as well. Now, the thing about the Ferris wheel, there are a couple little bumps here as you go through the gas station, or the toll gate, I guess. So you have to watch out for that one.
All right, Looning going to pick up another item, gets a second magnet, so a lot of magnets here for Looning.
Yeah, that'll just allow him to contend for anything as he cycles through if he so wishes, but doesn't look like there's any need for that for the time being, so he's happy to just stay clear, straight clear rather, of any water bombs. Of course, a very wide track here, so not going to see water bombs barriers do too much damage on any of these laps.
Yeah, water bomb's probably going to be very ineffective, and as we say that,
yeah.
Lance gets hit by a water bomb. I mean, it's only lap number 2, The way that these things generally tend to go is, on lap number 1 and lap number 2, I mean, you're just kind of setting yourself up in position for lap 3, right? Rarely do you run away with one.
And I just realized that last section of the track is not a toll gate, it's a ferry.
Wait, is it? I always thought it was a toll gate in my head.
I just realized that. But anyway, yeah, we'll get back to that. We'll get back to the Tour of London later as we are on the last lap. Taking a look at the arsenals, Looning does have a UFO and a magnet. Double boost on the side of Kosu. He is in prime position to pull for his teammates. A couple magnets in store for his teammates as well. He's already up top.
Yeah, Kosu on that shortcut's going to be going as fast as he possibly can. We'll get that boost here heading into the Ferris wheel right now as ReBoot. They might be winning this one with a 2-0.
Yeah, they're just running away with it. Looning is already magneted and no one's in place to catch up. But the barricade!
The barricades and the angel shielded Planet! Minchik is gonna force an ace match with a barricade of all things!
Oh, but that barricade was placed so well, because here's the thing. The rest of the track is so wide, you have to put it on the corner so it's as unpredictable as it could be. Because I was looking at the arsenal, I was like, okay, there's no magnets, there's no UFO. I guess there is a barricade in my mind, like, that's not worth mentioning. Boy, was it crucial.
I was looking at the same thing. I'm like, yeah, there's no comeback mechanic here. There's no nitrous, there's no magnet, but boy, we got fooled there as the barricade comes through. Sapped the momentum from ReBoot.
Wow.
And Minchik able to finish in first place. And we finally have an ace match today. And
give it to AcidFly. You got to give AcidFly another shot. He has entered 3 ace matches. I mean, that's the thing. Planet has gone down to the ace match 3 times, and they've lost all of them. If they had won any one of those, they would have already had a second win on the board. But 3 times for AcidFly. He's lost to Jung, Sungbin, and Percent. Obviously, all very reputable players. But I mean, I'm sure if you're AcidFly, maybe it's too much pressure. But if your teammates just encourage, just give him another chance. I think it'd be worth watching. Now here at the end, I mean, the water bomb on top as well, right? It's just guaranteeing that he gets hit by something. A great setup here from Planet.
Yeah, Planet coming through the clutch for the win as these teams decide to or continue to confer and get ready to decide on who their ace will be here in the final match of the night. And what a good way to end it. It's going to be Trobra, an ace match at last.
All right, see who enters. Looks like it should be Asimfly. Looks like he's trying to get ready for it, so we'll keep our eye on that.
Everybody's laughing a little bit.
I mean, I think it's probably the conversation is Asimfly's like, no, it's too much pressure, but his team is like, no, it's fine, you know, just do another one, just encourage him. We are gonna go down to Gold Rush, so quite a wide track. It's not going to be too much of a physical scuffle, but more about your builds here, right? Just making sure that you understand your opportunities to overtake each other on some of these wider turns. And then a couple of those 90-degree tracks as well. The big one, of course, being kind of that U-turn right at the end of the track on the right side.
Yeah, should be a fun one. Should be a fast one, too, so downhill. Sometimes these ace matches, they get a little bit slower because you're not able to build that team boost gauge, but I guarantee you these guys are going to be speeding through as we see the players, and yeah, it's going to be Asimfly again here against Load. Finally gets one last chance to prove himself.
All right, the fourth new opponent for Asimfly. Can he finally get that ace match win? Meanwhile, Load, his first time here in the ace match. Before, it has been Looning and Ding. For ReBoot, Looning did win against Hojun. Ding lost to Jung, but everybody loses to Jung, so we don't have to talk about that. But Load now gets a chance against Asimfly, the speed ace here for Planet. Who will take their last match victory? Planet, will they be able to claw back in the standings, or will it be ReBoot? Ladies and gentlemen, ace match in the last team match of the round robin in preseason 1 of the KDL. It's Mind Gold Rush. Minecart's at the ready as we go down the Gold Rush. Planet versus ReBoot, Asimfly versus Load.
All right, both players trying to build their gauge as much as possible right now. Load with an early lead, but Asimfly building that boost gauge as fast as he can. A little bit ahead right now in Nitro tempo. Should allow him to pass with some good drafting.
Yeah, I like the build here from Asimfly. Just sacrifices the lead early on to get the extra cut, and now he's always going to be ahead in boost. See what the adjustment is here from Load.
Yeah, Load doing a nice job, though, of zoning him out, body blocking him, trying to prevent him from gaining any momentum, but actually Asimfly, with that boost, able to get in first.
All right, so Asimfly now, all he has to do is try to stay ahead. Of course, he does have to worry about kind of these turns and the lines you're taking on these wider U-turns. There's going to be another one in a row as they go through the teleporter, see what the prep is. Asimfly loses the lead just a bit.
Yeah, Asimfly with a little bit of a hiccup there. He's going to see if he can try and pass here on the outer line coming into this turn.
All right, now they can just both cut for each other. Asimfly and Load just trading back and forth on their boost gauges. Now Asimfly, the build change he had in lap 1, no longer in effect. Now you just have to be able to get ahead and make sure that you're entering the teleporter at the better positioning so you can get that U-turn at a tighter line.
It still feels like it was a little bit ahead here in Nitrous, but I mean, Load just taking that tight inner line, able to bump Asimfly out of the way, able to take the first place position as we come down into this tunnel. Asimfly trying to draft in close distance. Will Load be able to block him out, though?
Asimfly, he forces him! I was just about to say the pressure from Asimfly to try to cut close to the pillars, and that forces Load to try to block him off. Asimfly just backs off, and Load runs into his own demise. Asimfly already just taking the safer route. Down below, goes into the teleporter. He's way ahead. There's really no chance for Load. He's out of Nitrous as well. Asimfly finally getting the ever-elusive ace match win for Planet.
Fourth time is the charm here for Asimfly as he pushes his opponent into the wall. And you can see the relief on his face. His teammates are so happy for him as Planet's going to come through with a win here to close out the round robin here of the KDL preseason. Asimfly just so happy. And I mean, it must be such a relief. I mean, you came up all preseason, your team put their faith in you, and you know, you tried your best, but you let them down. And now finally you prove yourself here in the last chance. A great way to end the story here in the KDL Preseason 1 here for Team Planet.
I mean, I think a very sweet ending here for Planet, even though they are not able to enter the postseason. Asimfly gets redemption. Now Load obviously doesn't feel great, but we saw him smiling on the camera, just kind of accepting that, you know what, I made a crucial mistake, what can you do? It happens when it's a 1v1, and of course he is a speed ace in general, but that was his first ace match here in the KDL on the side of ReBoot, so many more tries to look forward to in the future of ReBoot as well.
Yeah, and ReBoot, they came out with a vengeance here today. They played really well, winning 3-0 in speed mode. Item mode, it was a battle through and through. And I mean, even the ace match up until that one mistake.
Yes.
There by Load, it could have been anybody's game coming into the final turns there. So, a great match here for ReBoot. I feel like both teams, they can feel pretty good about this one. It's a nice way to kind of wrap up the package that is KDL Preseason 1. And, you know, they're going to go home, lick their wounds, come back KDL Preseason 2, and, you know, maybe they'll be able to make the postseason.
Yeah, absolutely. Which, I mean, as far as I know, Preseason 2, it's not going to be a long break after the postseason ends. We'll be getting right back into gear. I mean, there's plenty of KDL throughout the year, so we can look forward to see these racers on stage soon enough. But I just want to give a shout out to Asifly. I think the biggest change we saw there was he understands that he can't just win off of the mechanics alone, right? You have to be able to apply some of the mind games and the pressure as well. So him pressuring to see if there's a reaction from Load to try to block him, it works out. Load makes a mistake, and Asifly, I think now getting a taste of that victory of saying, okay, this is how I got to start playing my ace matches, is more than just the builds and the mechanics.
Yeah, and oftentimes in games, I mean, this could be the kind of thing where a mental block forms.
Yes.
Even though you have the raw skill and it works in practice. If you just consistently lose, you know, if you're playing an RTS game, if you always lose against one race or one civilization, or in a speed game, if you always lose in the 1v1 on the main stage, these mental blocks can form.
Yeah.
And so for Asifly, I mean, this is not something that's going to be lingering on his mind anymore.
Yes. Yes, and that means we can look forward to Asifly continue to grow as well as a racer. But again, I mean, looking at the ace matches, I think that's why, you know, we praise Jung so much, is because not only are his mechanics good, does he have his own builds, but on top of that, the mind games he plays, right, and kind of the gambles he plays as well. I mean, and trying to stop against these other players, and usually he's right. He is able to block off opponents as well. I mean, that's why he's unbeaten. That's just what it takes. I mean, it's just a whole nother level of kart rider when it comes down to those 1v1s.
Yeah, those 1v1s, I mean, they're so exciting to see, and it's kind of crazy when you have, you know, 2 best-of-5s and have it go to 1-1, and then to have everything be decided by a one-on-one battle to the death.
Yep, on one track, right?
One track. I mean, you don't have like a team nitros gauge. It's not like if you make a mistake in speed, like a team match.
Yeah.
In team speed, you know, you could fall back and be like, okay, well, I'll try to keep my opponents in position 7 and 8. I can at least play a sweeping role, even if I'm a runner or an ace.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, it just comes down to those like 90 to 120 seconds, right? And,
yeah.
I mean, if you make a crucial mistake like that, like Load did, then, I mean, that's unfortunate. You're kind of out of the race. But if not, again, it's just constant going back and forth. But ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at how the matches have happened so far as we wrap up the round-robin stage of the team matches here in KDL Preseason 1. Our first match of the night was FNL Esports versus Liiv SANDBOX.
FNL Esports almost able to force an ace match against Liiv SANDBOX with a great run. Unable to pull the rabbit out of the hat, though, as Liiv SANDBOX solidifies their position in Rank 2 here in the KDL Preseason. So that's going to be them going up against the KWANGDONGFREECS in the postseason. Should be a really fun match to watch.
Yep, Liiv SANDBOX basically putting themselves in the position they would want. Now, meanwhile, speed of the KWANGDONGFREECS, their first loss on their last team match against an Aura, who clearly prepared all hell against KWANGDONGFREECS in both speed and item mode.
Both speed and item went to track 5, so KWANGDONGFREECS, they gave it their all, but that ever-elusive perfect season run, evading their grasp yet again, as they never made it happen in Kart Rider League. They were hoping to go 7-0 here in the KDL Preseason. Unable to make it happen, though. They will still be the first seed coming into the postseason, but it'll be a 6-1 first seed, not a 7-0.
Yeah, and I think also just the fact that if Aura can prep that much and, you know, give you a run for your money, if not beat you like this, I mean, when you're rematched against Liiv SANDBOX, KWANGDONGFREECS are going to have to prep everything they have, because, you know, a lot of people, even in the Korean community, are already saying, right as this match ended earlier tonight, they're just saying, right, postseason, it's anyone's, right? It's anyone's up for grabs. Meanwhile, of course, our last match of the round robin was between Planet and ReBoot, two teams that did not make it into the postseason, but just trying to prove themselves one last time, and it goes to Planet in the form of an ace match.
Yeah, and what a good way to finish it here for Team Planet, and also their ace Asifly is, you know, he's never not going to have this lingering on his mind through, you know, the weeks leading up to the KDL Preseason 2. He's just going to be able to, you know, take a breather, be like, okay, I can still play the game. My team can still put their trust in me.
Exactly.
I can relax. I can trust myself.
I mean, that's important, right? I mean, sometimes that type of kind of trauma starts to stick with you as a player in certain scenarios. So just happy to see that Planet, they are able to still hold their heads up high as they go into the offseason for them. They are done here in preseason 1. Same thing with ReBoot. Excited to see, though, both these teams. I think these are the two teams that really, they have this potential that they haven't quite been able to dig up yet and polish. Curious to see how that changes as they come back for preseason 2.
I feel like we saw a little bit of that potential there in the speed mode. You know, they had a really nice 3-0 win here. As we look at the final overall standings here at the KDL preseason, KWANGDONGFREECS in first place with a +20 round differential. Liiv SANDBOX right behind them in second with +21. Aura in third and ROX in fourth. And ROX, although top 4, has a negative map differential just because of how clutch their ace match performance has been from Jung. Undefeated. Every single win so far that ROX has had has been on the back of Jung.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Does that legend continue? Or, you know, will Aura even let them get there? I mean, Aura's clearly been working on both speed and item mode. I feel like we've seen a renewed Aura today. So ROX, they're probably studying the tapes right now, and you got to pick and choose, right? Your item mode's always been so weak. Do you just really try to make sure you win the speed mode, or do you also try to balance yourselves out? I'm not so sure, but meanwhile, here's the other crazy story. If SANDBOX hadn't gotten a clean 2-0, Aura could have very well gotten second place as well, right? With a clean 2-0 win against KWANGDONGFREECS today. So SANDBOX probably also thinking, all right, we're not out of the woodworks yet. We got to make sure we beat the Freaks to get into the grand finals first.
Yeah, absolutely. Those top 2 seeds will have an extra life going into the winners final. As those bottom 2 seeds shown on screen, Aura versus ROX will play in a do-or-die match to play against the loser of upper bracket. That will be on Saturday, 6 p.m., same time, same place.
When we come back here for the weekend, and this is going to be, I mean, both these matches are going to be so close. I think both of them will be full of highlights. I mean, just look at the lineups already. Aura, ROX, KWANGDONGFREECS, Liiv SANDBOX. Plenty of things to look out for, and as you mentioned, State, Aura and ROX, they're fighting for their tournament lives here to have a chance to get to the grand finals. If not, one of them, their journey will end here in the preseason 1 of Kart Rider Drift League.
And these should be just both fantastic matches. I feel like every team kind of has their own identity here in the top 4. I mean, the Freaks, obviously, the Speed Demons, they did lose today, but they do still feel like the best team here at the KDL right now. Liiv SANDBOX, the only team with a global player on their roster. Also very good at item mode. ROX esports just on the back of their ace. Jong has been especially good. And Aura, up until now, they've been item mode specialists, but also in speed, just so good.
Yeah, and also just to note, of course, while we only have these 2 matches, they should be best of 7 here as we go into the postseason. So, again, it's not going to be any shortage of races here at the KDL as we enter the postseason for the team matches.
Best of 7 should be a lot of fun, man.
Man, can you imagine, though? Like, it's all best of 7s, and it always goes down to the wire for ROX, and it still goes to an ace match after, like, 14 tracks of speed and item mode. And then Jong has to still win. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Again, storylines for all 4 teams, ladies and gentlemen. You won't want to miss it. Save the date. It's on Saturday, May 6th. That's it for us today. We'll return on that Saturday for the team match postseason here at the KDL. We'll see you then.